loss in overtime. Kansas City wins the game.
With Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's C-Dot.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be here with you on this wonderful Wednesday as we are less than 24 hours away from the start of round one of the NCAA tournament. We will get to the first four. Yesterday, we saw one of the best buzzer beaters in tournament history, in my opinion. We also saw North Carolina. I mean, they absolutely pummeled San Diego State yesterday. I'm talking hands, feet, elbow drops. I mean, it was an absolute shellacking yesterday in Dayton. We have two more games today in the first four, and then starting Thursday, we'll be in round one of the NCAA tournament. We got a lot to get into. It's going to be primarily a lot of college basketball today in the NFL. We'll start more of our Royals coverage next week with opening day being next Thursday. But this week, we're going to focus in on the NCAA tournament with a sprinkle of Chiefs news. I need you guys to do me a couple of favors before we dive deep into the NCAA tournament. Number one, I need you to tell at least one friend to check out the show. And number two, I need you listening to the show each day at 2 o'clock. If you could do both of those things, then I would greatly appreciate it. All right, let's start with the NCAA tournament. Now, I was scrolling the internet and I found a very interesting statistic. Now, it's a little bit confusing, but I think you guys will understand the gist of it. The last 23 national champions have fit this criteria. Now, we are a show that believes in KenPom rankings. It is, I would say, the definitive way of measuring college basketball teams. Who's hot, who's not. KenPom's rankings are the most trusted in the sport. The last 23 national champions have fit into this criteria. They have been top 20 on defense. They have been top 40 ranked offensively on KenPom. All right, let's go through the teams that fit this criteria. Duke, Florida, Houston, Auburn, Tennessee, Michigan State, Maryland, UCLA, Michigan, Clemson, Louisville, and Iowa State. Now, fully understand that we are talking about a decent handful of teams. You might also be thinking, well, that's obvious. Those are the best teams in the tournament. Well, Rob, let's do this exercise to kick things off. I want us to go through the teams and let's eliminate the ones that make no sense, and let's give our official national champion, because the last 23 years of data tells us that the national champion was one of the teams that I just read. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be a Final Four team to fit this metric. Alabama very easily could make the Final Four. St. John's is not on this list. They could make the Final Four. We could find Final Four teams. We're talking about having the ability to win 6 of these games in a row and be the last team standing in a couple of weeks in San Antonio. I'm going to cross off a team, and I want you to cross off a team. I don't see a scenario in which Clemson wins the national championship this year. I think that Clemson is a good team. Could Clemson make a Sweet 16 run? Sure. I am not predicting that Clemson is going to be the national champion. I don't think the national champion this year in college basketball is going to be either the second or third best team in the ACC. So I am crossing Clemson off the list. I've crossed the team off. You cross a team off, a team that you don't think can win the national championship that is on KenPom's list. You got to be top 20 on defense, and you got to be top 40 on offense.
I'm going to go ahead and cross out Iowa State. Keshawn Gilbert's not playing in March Madness. He's their second leading scorer. He is extremely valuable. They fit the metrics, but the metrics can't account for the fact that their second best player is not playing in the NCAA tournament. I'm going to make a lot of Cyclo fans unhappy, but you're not healthy enough. I'm crossing you off the list.
All right, let's continue this. I'm actually enjoying this exercise. I'm crossing Louisville off this list, too. They're an 8 seed. Come on now. They're an 8 seed, and the same thing I just said about Clemson, that I am not picking the second or the third best team in the ACC to make a deep run. Duke got a number 1 overall seed. Clemson got a 5 seed. Louisville got an 8 seed. That tells me everything I need to know about your ability to win 6 of these games in a row. It is not happening. It is not possible. Let's cross Louisville off the list. They are not winning the national championship this year. Is there another team that you want to cross off the list? And we will knock off what we deem to be the bottom 4 teams on this list.
I think I'm going to cross out Maryland. And I'm double checking this, but I believe Maryland is in the same region as Michigan State. No, I apologize. I had the wrong region, but I'm still crossing out Maryland. I don't think they are going to get through Florida, another team on that list. So I'm going to cross out Maryland.
I think we could also take UCLA off the list as they are a 7 seed in this year's NCAA tournament. No 7 seed is navigating this tournament and not winning 6 games in a row. All right, this is who that leaves us with. Duke, Florida, Houston, Auburn. So it leaves you with the 1 seeds. Tennessee, Michigan State. Michigan State is a 2 seed. Tennessee also a 2 seed. And it leaves you with Michigan, a team that just made it to the championship game of the Big Ten.
Can I cross Michigan off now? Can we just knock that off?
If you want to knock about the list, let's talk about the list.
Let's cross Michigan off. I think Michigan got screwed by the committee, but yeah, I think Michigan's going to. I don't think Michigan's winning their first round game. It's a very trendy upset pick against San Diego. Go Tritons. I am taking Michigan off the list.
I have told you guys my problems with Duke and how I am fading Duke in relation to what I think the public is doing. And I think the Duke is going to be one of the more popular selections to win the national championship. I have a couple issues with Duke. Number one, their best player is a freshman. We can look at the last 25 years of the NCAA tournament. There are not a lot of champions that their best team or their best player is 18 or 19 years old. I think it's really difficult to navigate the tournament if your best players are 18 or 19 years old. So that's number one for me. Number two is I don't know if the ACC has prepared you to be battle tested for what we're talking about in relation to the NCAA tournament, where I look at some of these other teams that are on the list, Florida, Houston, Auburn, Tennessee. You've been playing NCAA tournament teams for weeks now. If you're a team like Houston, you just beat Arizona, you just beat Texas Tech, you played Kansas on the road, you played Kansas on a neutral site that wasn't really a neutral site. You've been playing tournament teams for the last 14 to 17 days. That's not really the case for Duke. And my biggest question for Duke is eventually the tournament punches you in the mouth. And you got to be willing to fight back, and you got to be willing to have a big enough punch. And I'm just not sure if we have seen Duke tested enough where I would feel comfortable picking them to win the national championship. I am not in on Duke being the last team standing. But Rob, you have your own thoughts. You have your own opinions. I'm not high on Duke in this tournament. Where do you sit with the overall number one seed in the Duke Blue Devils?
As a champion, I'm not high on Duke. I like Duke's region for Duke to make the Final Four, but that's not the exercise we're doing. I agree with you on Duke, and we haven't even talked about the fact the best player on their team is battling an injury. He got injured last week. Now everyone says he's going to be good to go. They'll beat a 16 seed with or without him, but Cooper Flagg got hurt last week. He did not finish the ACC tournament. He might be healthy enough to play, but it's hard to believe he's at 100%. So I'm with you. We can cross out Duke. I think they are the first of the 1 seeds off this list.
I really like Florida. And I think that Florida has to be considered the favorite heading into this tournament. Now, things change. And being the favorite doesn't mean that you're going to win the tournament. But I look at how their march has been. They beat Texas Tech. They went on the road and beat Alabama. They beat Alabama on a neutral site. They beat Missouri by 14. Granted, Missouri didn't have their best player in Mark Mitchell. They just beat Tennessee a couple of nights ago in the SEC Tournament Championship. They beat them 86-77. They have one of the 5 best players in college basketball in Clayton Jr. This is a team that has size. This is a team that is well coached. This is a team that is deep. This is a team that since the beginning of February, they have lost 2 games. We're talking about they have lost 2 games in the last 7 weeks, and those losses were on the road against Tennessee and on the road against Georgia, a team that was fighting for its tournament life the last 6 or 7 weeks or so. I think Florida has to be considered the favorite in this thing, and you guys know I'm picking Houston to win this entire thing. I like Houston's toughness. I like Houston's ability to score. I like the way that they rebound. I feel like their coach is due. So as I'm heading into this tournament, that's who I consider to be the two favorites. If you gave me those two teams and told me you can take the rest of the teams, I would feel good about it. Florida is ranked number 2 in the KenPom rankings. Houston is ranked number 3 in the KenPom ratings. Houston is ranked 10th on offense and 2nd defensively. I think whatever you need this Houston team to do or be, I think they're capable of being those things. If you need to win this game 88-85, I think they're capable. If this turns into a 65-64 fight in the middle of the street, I think that Houston is also prepared to win that kind of game. I do think they're veteran-led. I do think they have a good coach. I do think they have experience playing these kind of games, fighting in the Big 12. Houston checks all the boxes for me as a team to win the national championship. I think it's either going to be Houston or Florida that's cutting down the nets at the end of the season.
I am with you on Houston. Why are you out on Auburn? Because Auburn fits all this criteria. Auburn made the list. We never crossed Auburn off. Auburn might have the best college basketball player in the country on their team right now, and Johnny Brome. Like, they have a great coach who has been to a Final Four before, and Bruce Pearl. Like, they are the number 1 overall seed. I know they got screwed in their second-round matchup, potentially with Louisville, playing in Lexington, but the way you feel about Florida is how I feel about Auburn. I think Auburn is going to face Houston in the national title game, which I understand is lame by me, having 2 1 seeds, but those two teams seem like the obvious 1-2. I'm curious why you're out on Auburn.
This is what worries me about Auburn, because heading into March, I was right there with you with Auburn. I thought that Auburn was the favorite. In March, they are 2-3. They have lost 3 of their last 4 games. They beat Kentucky, they beat Ole Miss, and they really weren't that impressive in their win against Ole Miss. It is clear that they have started sputtering a little bit at the end of the season. I mean, they had 2 losses coming into February. They now have 5 losses. They have not played well. Can you stumble the final 10 days of the season and be able to catch your balance enough to now rattle off 6 straight wins? Especially when in the SEC, you were playing tournament teams. You played Kentucky, Texas A&M, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Your final 5 games, you went 2-3 in that stretch. You now got to beat 6 straight tournament teams. I'm out on Auburn, at least as the national champion. I don't want to overreact and tell you that I think they're losing in the second round, even though they could be playing Louisville in Lexington, Kentucky, and I don't think the committee did them a lot of favors. I just don't know if you can play your worst basketball heading into the tournament and then flick a light switch and be able to turn it on and win the championship 3 weeks later. That has soured me on Auburn. That's why I'm not picking them to win the national championship.
That is very fair. It's maybe a lame theory by me. Great player, great coach is a great starting point for the Auburn Tigers. They are sputtering, but sometimes a little extra rest before the tournament is good for the body.
Coming up on the other side, let's talk about North Carolina yesterday that took care of business in the first 4. We also saw one of the best buzzer beaters that I can remember. We'll also talk some Chiefs with Joshua Brisco. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Important Social Security news. President Trump's Doge chief, Elon Musk, says Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. And he says there's so much fraud, it's the big one to eliminate. Now, Rob Finnerty is on Newsmax tonight, warning that your Social Security could be in danger. Already, Doge is slashing half the Social Security offices across the nation. Rob Finnerty says that's wrong. Millions will find their benefits denied. You paid into Social Security all your life. Now, Rob Finnerty exposes the lies about Social Security and why it must be protected. Watch Rob's special series on the dangers to Social Security at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app. Millions of Americans are switching to Newsmax because it's news they can trust. It's real news for real people.
Spring may not officially be here until March 20th, but at Ryan Lawn & Tree, we've been preparing for spring all winter. This is Larry Ryan. Unlike companies that shut down for the season, our full-time Ryan pros train nonstop, studying the latest science to deliver even better results every year. No one brings more care and expertise to your lawn and landscape than a Ryan Pro in the Clean Rad truck. Ryan Pros are full-time employee owners, many with degrees in horticulture and turf management. If you ever have a question or a special need, you never call an 800 number. You call your Ryan Pros mobile number and talk to an owner. Get your free lawn instant quote online. Just visit ryanlawn.com/spring and get started today. Sign up this month and take 50% off your first lawn application. Our 50% off spring offer is the only one that comes with a Ryan Pro. Visit ryanlawn.com/spring today.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 5.25% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with a sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
What would you do if you could go back in time with the tap of a button?
Watch the ancient Egyptians build the pyramids?
How'd they do it?
Buy enough Bitcoin to purchase your very own private island.
Or maybe just skip the joke that flopped at the holiday party.
Unfortunately, we haven't figured out how to rewind time. But you can rewind live shows with the free Odyssey app.
Never miss your favorite sports talk again. To get started, download Odyssey and search for your station.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Trent McDuffie. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Do you guys see how quickly the media will switch up on you? I say that as somebody who's part of the media. I'm seeing it play itself out in real time. You guys were watching all the debate shows and the talk shows on Monday. Everybody, North Carolina shouldn't be in the tournament. It's a travesty that North Carolina, we got to protect the sanctity of the NCAA tournament. It's not fair. That was everybody's message a couple of days ago. Everybody was in agreement. I agreed that North Carolina shouldn't have been in the NCAA tournament, that your strength of schedule doesn't mean anything if you lost to all the good teams that you've played. But now, after being a blue blood program and smoking a team from the Mountain West, you see how fast they switch up? They were talking about North Carolina making the Sweet 16 earlier today on Get Up.
They can make a run to the Sweet 16. I just got a text message from Tom Izzo, and he said, you're exactly right. It's all about matchups. And the matchups for this North Carolina team are good because Ole Miss is a team, very good team, very aggressive defensively, take care of the ball, but they're an undersized team, undersized in the backcourt, 2'6" guards, a 6'3" wing, and undersized in the front court. So if you talk about R.J. Davis and Cadeau, not a problem. If you talk about the front court of Withers and Van Allen Lubin, not a problem. So the matchup is good. Compete offensively, do what they did the other night, defend, and they're have a legitimate opportunity to get by Ole Miss and then play an Iowa State team probably that's playing without one of their best players who's out for the NCAA tournament. So the bracket has opened up for them.
I mean, we didn't even finish the week out before we did the switch up with North Carolina. Here is the thing that I think everybody is missing, but I'm the only one that can see it. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. I don't have to always be the only one that sees something, but sometimes that's just the way that the cookie crumbles. No one thought that a team that finished top 5 in a major conference had no chance to win a game or two. That's not the argument. Now, I understand that the ACC was down this season. North Carolina went 13-7 and finished 5th. They finished 5th. Yes, on a neutral site, could they beat a team from the Mountain West? Of course, especially when San Diego State was the 5th team in the Mountain West. So, yes, am I surprised that the 5th team in the ACC beat the 5th team in the Mountain West Conference on a neutral site? No part of me is surprised that that happened. Now, sure, I'm a little bit surprised that it was a beatdown. I'm a little surprised that it was a thumping, but I'm not surprised that they won. This is the thing. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something. Yes, North Carolina can win a couple of games in this tournament. It doesn't mean that they should have been included in the tournament. Sure, if we went through major conferences and you swapped out North Carolina and you took the 9th best team in the Big Ten, could that team win a game or two in the tournament? Sure. If you went back to the Big 12 and you tried to find a different, could you find? Of course you could. Could Xavier, who went 13-7 in the Big East, could they win a game or two? Yeah, it's college basketball. Of course. Could West Virginia? Absolutely. What are we arguing with North Carolina? Now they should have been in, even though their resume wasn't good enough to actually get them in the NCAA tournament. Now we think that means they can go on a run. If anything, this justifies expansion, but none of us want expansion. I don't ever think the purpose of the NCAA tournament was to put every team in it that had the opportunity to win a game or two. Yes, there's more than 68 teams that could win 2 games in the NCAA tournament. But it's about what you do in the non-con. It's about what you do in conference play. It's about how you handle your conference tournament. I still don't think North Carolina did what they were supposed to. And beating the 53rd ranked team on KenPom and a team that finished 5th in the Mountain West in Dayton is not answering the question on whether or not you should have been in the tournament. I know you proved you were better than them. You proved that all season. You didn't prove you were as good as actual tournament teams. I thought that was a debate. So we'll see. I am very intrigued to see how this story continues for North Carolina. They now play a team from the SEC, a team that was pretty good. Ole Miss this past season finished 7th in the SEC. They finished 7th. They went 10-8. They won 22 games this year. Ole Miss was a good basketball team. I haven't seen North Carolina win too many games against good basketball teams. Let's see how they perform. I think Ole Miss is better than they are. I'm surprised now we went from North Carolina shouldn't be in the tournament to now North Carolina is a favorite in their first round matchup. Let's see how North Carolina's story ends. I am very, very excited to see. I do want to talk a little bit about what happened last night and not related to North Carolina. I get that it was 2 16 seeds. I understand. I understand where it took place. It was in the first 4 in Dayton. I get all of that. That buzzer beater last night was one of the greatest buzzer beaters in the history of the NCAA tournament. I'm talking about the play. I'm not talking about the significance. I'm not talking about time, situation. It is not one of the greatest buzzer beaters of all time. If we are just talking about the scenario of what happened, a ball was dribbled off a kid's leg. They put 3.4 seconds on the clock. Full court baseball pass, Hail Mary. Ball, it goes through 6-7 people's hands, ends up right at the rim, catch it, layup. You advance in the NCAA tournament. It was one of the more exciting memories I can remember. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, oh, I couldn't believe it. I was stunned that this had happened. I thought for sure we were going to overtime. That's why we watch. That's why we watch. I think that's going to be the most exciting ending of any game in the tournament. Rob disagrees, and we'll debate it more later because we got to get to Joshua Brisco here coming up in a bit. If we are talking about the play, I think that is the most exciting play that we will see in this year's NCAA tournament. You can't have a much greater ending to a basketball game than the final 10 seconds of that game last night. Confusion, turnover, put the ball out of bounds, full court pass, ball gets tipped a couple of times, catch it, layup, you win and advance to the next round. Incredible moment last night in the first four in the NCAA tournament. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by our Chiefs insider, Joshua Brisco. A lot of Chiefs news coming out. Brisco, how you doing today, my man?
I'm good, and I was excited for that buzzer beater because, as you said, it really looked like a Hail Mary. So I got just a little bit of football to get me ready for March Madness. My college basketball season starts tomorrow, so I'm in a great mood, and I've got my bracket filled out with no real intelligence behind it. I also landed at Florida-Houston, so I feel like I'm in good shape. You really filled me with some confidence here. I'm going to go ahead and put the house on just some really insane parlays.
Yeah, you know what? I feel good that you and I are on the same page when it comes to who we're picking. I think that Florida and Houston are the two favorites. I'm picking Houston to win the entire thing.
You have lots of really good reasons, and I was like, it'd be fun to root for the Gators. So that's kind of how I broke a few of those close games on the way. But I mean, again, we're going to the same place here now, win or lose.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Brisco here, getting you ready for, I guess, the Chiefs offseason as it continues to move forward. What was your biggest takeaway from the Chiefs bringing back Kareem Hunt? We'll move that aside from them bringing back Juju Smith-Schuster, but let's start with them bringing back Kareem Hunt. I don't really see the purpose of having both Kareem Hunt and Elijah Mitchell, and I thought when they brought back Mitchell, that means they weren't going to bring back Kareem Hunt. Obviously, they brought both of them back. They have not committed a lot financially to either player, so I don't know if an injury happens or you need to make a cut. I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be unwilling to make that move, but I am a little bit surprised that they brought both of those guys back.
I was also a little bit surprised to see Hunt's deal, especially considering it is relatively early in kind of that like last round of veteran little 1 year kind of tack on signings. I thought they could have waited, and maybe they couldn't have. I'm guessing they could have. I thought Kareem Hunt could be a post-draft re-signing for the Chiefs, like where you let all that play out and bring him in. But with that being said, I do not think this changes their draft plans at all. All of these guys on the last year of their deals, they have to draft a younger running back with some explosion who's under contract for multiple years. Like, I think that's going to happen regardless of Kareem Hunt being here. So I don't want anybody to be freaking out like, oh man, they're not going to go that way in the draft now that Hunt's here. I still think they're going to draft a guy. With that in mind, I think this is a tiny bit of a lesson they learned last year, where going through training camp, it was Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Carson Steele, Deneric Prince. The other P. Ryan has been in the mix the last couple of years. Like Keontae Ingram was the other guy. Like maybe he'll be the third down back. And ultimately, I think the Chiefs got bit last year by not having actual veteran running backs on the roster who they knew could set the floor there. Because Steele obviously is an undrafted free agent. He couldn't be that guy after Pacheco got hurt. Clyde wasn't in a position to be that guy. So ultimately, I just think this is redundancies where if Elijah Mitchell gets hurt in training camp, Kareem Hunt is on the roster. If Elijah Mitchell has a really good camp in preseason, I think Kareem Hunt is probably one of the veterans on the practice squad next year where they can just say, hey, we've got the guys in the building. And I've thought back several times to Samaje Perine being a post-cut-down addition. I think Samaje Perine probably has a larger role with this team if he would have been there in training camp. So I think it's a very small reaction, not even an overreaction, just a reaction to where the running back room is last year. I wouldn't sweat it, but I was a little bit surprised for Hunt to come back.
Let's talk about Juju Smith-Schuster. He coming back to the Kansas City Chiefs as well. My biggest takeaway is the Chiefs have communicated to me that they think they were going to have a top 10 offense in the league if it wasn't for injuries. Now, I'm looking at the injuries that they had. I mean, their number one wide receiver basically missed the entire season. Hollywood Brown also basically missed the entire season. And their best wide receiver from last year weighs 165 pounds. Like, injuries is just going to have to be something that you're likely going to have to manage. There's not a lot of explosiveness as of now in the run game. I don't love their offensive philosophy, and I want them to get younger and more explosive, but the Chiefs clearly feel like heading into the year, they were about to have a big season offensively, if not for the injury setbacks.
Yep, and I think Juju is an answer to a very similar question to what Kareem Hunt is the answer to, which is what happens if injuries do show up again in a similar way. Now, look, I think you could have a little bit of fear that Andy Reid and even Matt Nagy and even Patrick Mahomes, frankly, might all be a little too in love with the known quantity. But, man, like, Juju Smith-Schuster made plays last year. He was a useful guy to have in this offense, but you want him to be in an appropriately sized role. The reason that I'm glad Juju is back is also in connection with the guys who aren't back. Justin Watson was gone early in free agency. Mecole Hardman, I think, had a visit with Green Bay, maybe. I don't know where he's going to end up, obviously, but I think what the Chiefs have decided, and where I was hoping they would be, is among, and DeAndre Hopkins too, among Hopkins, Juju, Watson, and Hardman. I thought, you know what, if they bring one of those guys back, I'll be happy. If they try to bring two of those guys back, I'll live with it. But I think Nico Remigio is ready for that Mecole Hardman role, and the other guys are, I mean, Watson and Hopkins, I think, have did all they could. Watson over many years, and Hopkins, we saw where he was at by the end of last season. Certainly a limited player there. So I'm good having one veteran, floor setter, dirty work type of guy on the roster, and I would have rather had Juju than Justin Watson to fill that role.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Brisco. We actually got a little bit of breaking news. Cam Robinson is going to be the left tackle for the Houston Texans. He has signed a one-year deal that is worth $12 million that can be up to $14.5 million. Now that we have the contract, would you rather have Cam Robinson on his deal or Jalen Moore on his?
I'm surprised by the Cam Robinson deal just being 1 year, but I think I'm sticking to my guns. What was the number again? I'm just pulling up 14.5. All right, yeah. I'm good with getting basically 2 years, and it's another $7 million to have Jalen Moore be the guy with a little bit more upside there. I think Cam Robinson would have been a better answer than 2025 Donovan Smith, but I think Jalen Moore has the upside to be something where the Chiefs are getting value at a position that's very, very, very difficult to find value. Presumably Robinson wants to play 1 year, protect C.J. Stroud, try to stay healthy for a full season, and then he'd hit free agency again before he turns 30, I think, or maybe he would be 30 at this time next year. Cam Robinson, that is. So younger player with a little bit of a bet to hedge with Jalen Moore. I'm good with that. I think I probably would have rather had Stanley on the deal he went back to Baltimore on, but other than that, Jalen Moore is the next best contract for me.
What do you think their pass rush plan is?
I would be at this point, I would give you the field and take defensive line in the first round. I don't know exactly how the board's going to fall. Obviously, I don't know who they're in love with, but I think there has to be probably two of those early picks, let's say through day two, through the 2 third-round picks. I think they could double dip on the defensive line there. And Nate Taylor said yesterday that he thinks Charles Omenihu is going to be he could be a post-draft free agent landing spot kind of guy. I think Omenihu's market has just not been what he hoped it would be. The Chiefs are waiting it out now. I think bringing back Omenihu, definitely adding a young pass rush defensive tackle, another guy who can kind of do some 3-tech stuff along the rotation with Chris Jones. Jerry Tiller, I think, is a nice addition to that as well. And then they got to bring back Mike Pennell. I imagine there's not really a nose 1-tech on this roster right now that you trust, but I think they're going to throw some young numbers at it, and I'm good with that at this point. I think pay Omenihu for another 1-year deal if you can get that done, and then just draft across the defensive line, overdraft the defensive line, take 2 hits out of 4 picks if you want. If you got all the way through the compensatory picks in the 7th round, they have a chance now to kind of build a new young class of pass rushers across that defensive line, because George Karlaftis isn't that guy anymore. We know what he is. There are not enough upside unknowns in this mix. Karlaftis is just good and expensive. Mike Dana, or will be expensive for Karlaftis, I should say. Mike Dana is getting paid at least what he's worth. Omenihu's going to get paid at least what he's worth. I think Amenahu would be great, and then it is double dipping on the defensive line in the draft.
Yeah, I don't really know what kind of market Charles Amenahu was expecting there to be for him. I mean, think of the last 2 years. His first year in Kansas City, he missed the early part of the season because he was suspended for domestic violence. He then missed a lot of 2024 with the torn ACL, and he had 1 sack this past season. What kind of market did Amenahu think was coming? He thought he was getting 15 per for 1 sack last year and coming off an ACL tear. That was a very unrealistic understanding of what he was going to get.
And I think it might be even less about that number, which I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he's thinking. I think he was looking for multiple years, which in the context of what his last 2 years have been, really felt like a reach from the beginning. So it's not great for him. I would say it's unfair. I mean, the suspension is what it was. The injury was terrible timing and all of that. I think if Charles Amenahu was hitting free agency with his 5 best games of the last 2 years, he would get a real deal, like a top-end pass rusher. But to your point, he hasn't been able to prove that consistently. And again, him getting hurt and having to come back off an ACL and being a little bit diminished but still being a really good player, that's not his fault. That's bad luck, but that's what the market is telling him right now. And to the Chiefs' benefit here, I think Charles Amenahu in 2025 could be much more like that fresh off suspension version of him that we saw 2 years ago, and could be a guy that really makes an impact for this team that would outshine what they would have to pay him for one of these 1-year deals. I just think he's trying to get some guaranteed money right now, and I don't see that coming. I think his best bet is to take 1 more year with the Chiefs, be here healthy throughout all of training camp, out-snap Mike Dana, and then hit free agency again next year with 15 to 17 healthy games under your belt.
That was our guy, Joshua Brisco, joining us on the show today. He is our Chiefs insider. Fantastic stuff from him. Brisco, before we get you out of here, what's your favorite basketball movie?
I think I gave you a really Air Bud. I thought of it. I got there. I think I've given you a disappointing answer to a similar question before. The answer is Air Bud, Carrington. Second place, Flubber.
Rob, hang up the phone, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. He's not on the phone regular today. Just hang up the phone. There's nothing more that we need to talk to Joshua Brisco about. Nothing. There's nothing that we need to discuss with him after Air Bud is your favorite basketball movie. Someone texting in, C-Dot, why does Juju need to have a limited role? Just a couple of seasons ago, he was going to be an 1,000-yard receiver for us had he not gotten hurt. I don't understand it. Going through Juju's last 4 years, in 2021, he had 15 catches for 129 yards. 2022, he had the big season, 78 catches, 933 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 2 seasons ago with the Patriots, 29 catches for 260. Last season, 18 for 231. One of those years is not like the other ones. I think you are going into this season, and anything you get additional from Juju Smith-Schuster has to be counted as a bonus. It has to be counted as a bonus. I like Juju. I really do. In the last 18 months of Juju's career, he couldn't make it work for the Patriots, got cut by the Patriots, and in a wide receiver deficient year in Kansas City, couldn't really consistently see the field. A team that desperately needed anybody to step up. No Rice, no Hollywood Brown. They needed McCole Hardman got hurt. They needed somebody to step up. And Juju just wasn't that guy. I don't have any problems with Juju being the 5th wide receiver. I don't have any problem with him being a break in case of emergency. I think the Juju that played in 2022 is over. I don't think that Juju exists anymore. I don't think it's real. I think his body is breaking down right before our eyes. And sometimes guys just break down earlier than other people. I'm happy that Juju was able to cash out on that really good year. You remember, teams wouldn't commit to Juju long term. He signed a couple of 1-year deals. He balled out on that second 1-year deal in Kansas City and then got paid from New England. And since then, he has less than 500 yards receiving in those last 2 seasons since signing that contract. I'm not going into this year with any measure of expectations of what you could get from Juju Smith-Schuster. I would treat him like found money. That's how I would treat him. All right, let's get back to the NCAA tournament. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Fellas, are you feeling sluggish, maybe a bit tired, or just not feeling like yourself? Maybe your workouts aren't producing the results that they used to, and you're not getting that great quality sleep. If you're noticing changes, then it could be low testosterone. Low T affects more than just your energy levels. It can impact everything from your workout performance to the intimacy in your relationship. Well, here's some great news. Heartland Men's Health is here to help you. It's simple to get started. Take a quiz at heartlandmenshealth.com to see if you might have low T. Then schedule a $99 consultation where you'll get lab work and results in just 30 minutes. And if you sign up for treatment, then your visit is free. Don't wait any longer. Feel like yourself today. Call Heartland Men's Health, your partner in better health. Call this number, 844-447-6600, or check out the website, heartlandmenshealth.com today. Heartland Men's Health, Kansas City's trusted choice for low T treatment.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold once again telling you about our friends over at Centric, and we've all been dealing with this brutal weather in Kansas City. Maybe you work outside, and look, you've just had enough. Well, you can start a brand new career with our friends over at Centric because they allow you to advance your career on your time with their flexible schedules.
You choose your curriculum, go with that new career path, and stop worrying about what the weather will do for you. Call our guy, Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for 16 years and will be with you to guide you every step of the way. Go to Centric.com now.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-1441. That's 800-838-1441. 800-838-1441.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. Here's the best part. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy? They'll come back between visits to make it right. Don't wait. Head to TrueGreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mira joyed that Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
This afternoon, expect a temperature of 63 with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Welcome to your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. I want to give you guys a couple of NCAA tournament bracket betting trends. Rob, did you know that the most popular pick right now on ESPN's betting app is Drake plus 6.5 tomorrow against the Missouri Tigers? The public is all over the 11 seed, knocking out the 6 seed Missouri Tigers. The public really, really likes Drake. We have talked about it this week. I really want to see, I guess, two things. And what I think makes this game so interesting and why it's one of the more intriguing first-round matchups. Number one, can Drake match the athleticism and length of Missouri? They have not played a team like Missouri. This is not me trying to big up Missouri like they're some great team. If the best team you've played this season is Vanderbilt, and that's the best team that Drake has played, you have not played a team like Missouri with the ceiling that Missouri has when they can get going. On the other side, I don't think Missouri has played a team that wants to play at the style and tempo that Drake wants to play at. I think we will know pretty early in this game which side is going to win. Is the athleticism, length, and depth of Missouri enough to kind of speed Drake up, or is Drake in complete control of the tempo of the game? Is it a low-scoring game? I don't think that Drake can score 80 points, for example, against Missouri. I don't really think they're that kind of offense. But if this game is a 66-61 game, that is absolutely a game that Drake can win. 100% a game that Drake can win. I understand why the public is all over Drake. Well-coached, good team, won 30 games. Missouri has not played well the last 3 weeks of the season. Missouri is ripe for an upset here. If you had to go through the 6-11, and if I'm looking at it completely neutral, that is probably the 11 seed that is the most likely one to win. I don't think that there is a huge gap between these two teams. I told you guys, I think that Drake is the best mid-major team in the country. Drake wouldn't have got blown out by 40 points yesterday against North Carolina the way that San Diego State is. Now, if you're not counting Gonzaga as a mid-major, if we are going a true traditional mid-major, Grand Canyon, UC San Diego, those kind of teams, I think Drake is the best mid-major team in the country, and that's a really good test for a middle-of-the-pack SEC team.
I mean, what is the rule this show has? If Joe Public is doing one thing, maybe fade Joe Public. I mean, everyone is on Drake, at least plus the 6.5. If I'm a Missouri fan, I'm feeling confident because what's the old saying? They don't build those casinos off of losses. If everyone's on Drake, the casino knows something or feels like they're in a good spot. I actually like Drake 6.5 because I do think it's going to be like a 65-59, 61 type of game where one team just, we got through, and 6.5 seems like a lot of points for a game like that. But man, if Joe Public's all over it, it does scare me a little bit.
Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, when was the last time Missouri played in the tournament? Was it Norfolk State? I would love for you guys to watch college basketball that's not KU. They won a tournament game 2 years ago. Missouri did. I would really love it. It would be great if you guys watch other than KU. I'm telling you, there's other teams that play college basketball. It's actually a lot of fun. All right, let's move back to betting trends in the NCAA tournament. Rob, did you know that the most popular bet for a team to make the Final Four is St. John's? St. John's is the most popular bet right now for a team to advance out of their region and make it to the Final Four. Now, some of it is just the odds of it. You're getting plus money for St. John's. So even if you think Houston is making the Final Four, there's just other odds. There's better bets right now to make than if you think that Houston is going to make the Final Four. So just looking at it, raw numbers, the most popular individual game on ESPN's app is Drake to upset Missouri tomorrow. And the most popular team right now to make the Final Four in terms of betting odds, betting tickets, money that's coming in is St. John's. They are a very, very popular team. I told you, I think there are 3 storylines heading into the tournament. Number one, how does the SEC do? We get an SEC game coming up later today with Texas and Xavier. So that's number one. The SEC has 14 teams, more teams than we've ever seen from one conference before. 13 at-large bids. How do they perform? Number two is Cooper Flagg. Is he healthy? Is he the best player in this tournament? And number three is St. John's. I think that St. John's is America's team. I think America has rallied behind them. I think America wants to see St. John's perform well in this tournament.
I mean, with the St. John's being the most bet thing, how much of that is St. John's in New York? Like, I don't know off the top of my head if New York has legalized sports gambling. I'm pretty sure Jersey does, and it's right there. It's like how Kansas has, but Missouri doesn't. St. John's has become New York's team in the last 2 weeks. It happened in the last 2 weeks. Lee is talking about how he loves St. John's. He went at games in February. But the last 2 weeks, St. John's became New York's team. New York is going to bet on their team. So I wonder if that most bet Final Four trend is around the notion of the biggest city in the world is getting behind their team, and they view their team as the St. John's Red Storm.
Yeah, I think that I actually think this. I think we give fair weather fans way too much grief. I think most fans are fair weather.
I just don't like Spike talking like he's not fair weather.
I think that's most people. Most of Kansas City are fair weather Royals fans. We have a game based on fair weather Royals fans. If the Royals ain't playing well, a lot of you ain't going out there. And you will find every reason in the world to not go out there. Hey, when the Royals start playing well, hey, Kaufman is popping. I imagine that's how St. John's games are. Especially, Spike's not an alum. Hey, but their New York team, I'll put the color on, I'll support them, I'll go out there. Most people are fair weather fans. And nothing wrong with that. Basketball is an entertainment product. If you're not entertaining me, I'm not in it. Watching you go 17-16 and miss the NCAA tournament is not that entertaining to me. I don't mind being fair weather about some things. I don't mind it. You've kind of become a fair weather Marvel fan. You were all in when it was cool to be all in. You didn't talk to me about this Captain America movie. Did you even go see it?
Yeah, I saw it on opening night. It stunk. Why would I talk about it? There's a difference between being fair weather and being a realist. It wasn't good. What am I going to tell you about it?
Okay,
hey, I paid money to watch this. It stunk. It was 90 minutes I wish I had back. We're not talking like that in the office.
It's over. No, it's over. I didn't know the run was over. I didn't know. What's up next for you guys? Thunderbelts or Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts has a chance to be a saving grace.
Y'all been saying that for the last 7 movies.
People are excited about Thunderbolts.
You guys, you've told me 8 different movies from Marvel as the saving grace for the movies.
It's a wild pendulum because some of them have been good and saved a little bit, and then they'll take a W and they'll give it right back.
You guys, you know what I think you need to do? I think you just need a hard reset. Let's get back to X-Men. Let's get back to Blade.
Coming.
Let's get back to
Blade's
Fantastic
coming.
Four. Okay, Blade's coming. They ain't even started filming the movie yet.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali is going to be the new Blade.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is coming out in 3 months.
All right, I can't wait. I will go see Fantastic Four. I'm in for that. I'm in.
It's got star power. Pedro Pascal's
This
in
movie
it.
had star power. You told me it stunk.
I mean,
This movie had Papa Doc as the lead.
I'm going to say Harrison Ford's the biggest star in this one, and it stunk.
And Papa Doc. We're not going to disrespect Papa Doc.
Papa Doc is not a major star. Also, if we went and polled 100 people.
Somebody watching 8 Mile was like, hey, you know the guy that didn't rap at the end of the movie? I think that guy could be a superhero. Somebody had that idea. I could have told them, I don't know if that guy can be a superhero or not. I'm not sure if Clarence is a superhero. Someone disagreed.
To be fair, someone saw the fat funny guy on Parks and Rec and thought, that's a leading man. And it worked. Chris Pratt's a star.
That's fair. I won't argue that. Let's regain some measure of semblance on the show. Did you guys see what Mel Kiper said earlier today? I'm telling you, it's happening. Jackson Dart is going to be drafted in round 1 of the NFL draft. Listen to Mel Kiper.
Well, first of all, last year in Mock 3.0, I had Bo Nix going to a team that ended up taking him, the Denver Broncos. I got talked out of that in Mock 4.0. Nobody's talking me out of this one, Granny. Jackson Dart locked into the Saints 9 for me right now. Think about, hey, he went west with USC to the SEC, right? Bo Nix went SEC out west to Oregon. I think when you look at Jackson Dart, the improvement, completion percentage up every year. Okay, interceptions down, and he maintained that at 5.6. Completion percentage up every year. Touchdowns up every year. Jackson Dart with his legs, 1,500 rushing yards the last 3 years. Okay, 8 rushing touchdowns 2 years ago. That's the underrated part of Jackson Dart's game. This is an NFC now, adding Jaden and Caleb, Michael Penix Jr., the division with Penix Jr., and 2 number 1s overall, Baker and Bryce Young. And now you get Jackson Dart. You got to keep up with the division, Greeny. The Saints, you get new coach, new quarterback coming in together.
Jackson Dart, 9 overall to the New Orleans Saints is what Mel Kiper is predicting. Now, 9 seems very ridiculous to me, but I am telling you, remember this, write it down. There will be 3 quarterbacks drafted in round 1. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jackson Dart. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's starting to be a lot of smoke around him. Coming up on the other side, let's keep talking NCAA tournament. There is a player in this tournament that should be an inspiration to all of us. I'll tell you who it is. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Sorry to bother you, but this house is a mess. The windows are drafty, the vinyl siding has cracks and holes in it, and the kids just fell through the deck. We need Powell Exteriors KC now. They install James Hardie siding, Provia windows, Renaissance patio products, beautiful decks, roofing, and more, all at 0% interest for 18 months. Go to PowellKC.com and see for yourself. Powell Exteriors KC. The best decision you've made since you married me.
Guys, it's Cody Tapp, and let's talk about feeling your best. If you don't have that same energy, strength, maybe feeling moody, if you lost that drive with your partner, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and the true experts you can find at the Low T Center. Getting tested is fast and easy, and we aren't all the same, so don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. I learned about personalized therapy at the Low T Center and the results you can expect with a customized TRT. So don't put it off. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
GimmeTheVin.com's big cash giveaway. I hate games and scams. So when we had the idea to give away $25,000, I was very careful about the way it was orchestrated. Get the top of the market money and enter to be the lucky person to get $25,000 this month in March. This is no joke. This is no game. This is very real. Just like GimmeTheVin.com.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GimmeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GimmeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Here's a question. Would you take your storm-damaged car to a body shop that only did bumpers? Of course not. So why call just a roofing company after your entire home or business goes through a storm? Get more than a roofer. Get an experienced restoration team. Get PAC Construction Services. We're seasoned construction professionals and, are you ready? Former insurance adjusters. Our 100 years of diverse and specialized experience means faster repairs, fewer hassles, and fewer delays. Our emergency response team is on call 24/7 for storm damage, fire, water, and even mold restoration. Veteran-owned, Kansas City trusted. No one will care more for your home or business inside and out than we will. We're ready when you need us. Visit PacKC.com and schedule a free inspection. With KC's recent storm history, there's a good chance you could already have covered damage. Find out today at PacKC.com. That's PACTKC.com.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
Come join us for the Royals Roundtable, plus meet and greet with Michael Massey and Kyle Isbell at Hollywood Casino Friday, March 28th, starting at 6. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Text line 913-586-7965. I want to read this before we get back to basketball. CDOT, the Chiefs don't make the Super Bowl last year if Charles Omenihu doesn't come back from injury. There was not a biggest difference maker to the defense that was on a downtrend at the time that he came back. He unlocked George Karlaftis. The disrespect for Charles Omenihu is crazy. Give that man a 2-year deal. I am not here to debate opinions with anybody. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I am here to tell you the facts. And if I am another team in the league and I am looking at the 2 years that he had in Kansas City, there are some facts. He started his Kansas City career suspended for domestic violence. In year 1, he tore his ACL that caused him to miss a majority of 2024. And I'm with you. Charles Omenihu, who played well when he came back, he had 1 sack last season. That is not a player that I am rushing to go sign in free agency. And I think based on how the Chiefs have moved, the Chiefs don't really seem that worried about it. The Chiefs have been, I would say, active in free agency. Now, they haven't been major players or major spenders in free agency, but the Chiefs have pretty clearly shown you what their priorities are. Their priority was keeping Trey Smith. He is the only player in the NFL that is currently on a franchise tag. They really like Trey Smith. You have never heard an inkling of rumors that the Chiefs plan on trading Trey Smith. They didn't let Nick Bolton hit free agency, and they gave Nick Bolton $15 million a year and gave him $30 guaranteed. They really like Nick Bolton. When it came to the guys they wanted to keep, they got the Hollywood deal done pretty quickly. You never really heard, oh, Hollywood went to go visit this team or this team. No, they really wanted Hollywood back. Kareem came back. Juju came back. Have you heard anything about George Karlaftis? For a guy that people think, and I agree to some extent, that helped unlock the Chiefs' defense, it seems like that guy could help a whole lot of teams. Why isn't Buffalo all over that? Why isn't Baltimore all over that? Why isn't there a team that would want to take something away from Kansas City and sign a guy who you would have to think it can't be relatively expensive at this point? If you were Charles Omenihu, that multiple-year contract nonsense is over. You're not getting paid multiple years. If you were going to sign for multiple years, you would have signed that 11 days ago, not today. Charles Omenihu is playing for somebody next year on a 1-year deal. He's playing for somebody on a 1-year, $6 million deal. It could be up to $8 million with certain incentives if you can prove and show that you can stay healthy. And if Charles Omenihu can show that he can stay healthy and be the kind of player that he was in 2023 before the injury, that's a guy that gets paid. That's a guy that had 28 tackles, a guy that had 7 sacks, a guy that set the edge. Last year, Rob, how many tackles do you think Charles Omenihu had last season? How many tackles? And I'm saying is I don't think Charles Omenihu was bad. The point of this is not me telling you that Charles Omenihu did not help last year. He had 1 sack last season. How many tackles do you think he had?
I'm going to say a low number because you were not asking if it was a high number. 10?
6. That guy ain't getting paid in free agency. He ain't getting paid in free agency. So Charles Omenihu's best play is to come back to Kansas City on a 1-year deal. He needs to sign the Juju deal. He needs to sign the Elijah Mitchell deal. He needs to sign the Kareem Hunt deal. Come back to Kansas City, be healthy, stay out of trouble, put up 8 sacks, and then go get your money, whether it's from Kansas City or somewhere else. But no one is making a multiple-year investment in a player. The last 2 years, you have been accused of hitting a woman. You tore your ACL. You had 6 tackles last year and had 1 sack. Ain't nobody investing a significant amount of money into you as a player. That is not how this thing is going to go for you. I'm here to inform you that.
He'll get DeAndre Hopkins' deal. DeAndre Hopkins got what? 1 for what? 8? It was a 1-year deal with incentives with the Ravens.
Something like that. Yeah.
He'll get DeAndre Hopkins' deal because the same people on the text line that are saying, and maybe this is bad by me, that are telling me that he unlocked George Karlaftis. So the same people that are telling me that DeAndre Hopkins really nurtured Xavier Worthy. I'm here to tell you, you know what doesn't get paid in free agency? Unlocking other players and nurturing other players. He'll get DeAndre Hopkins' deal. It's probably going to be in Kansas City if I'm betting, maybe after the draft, but he will get the DeAndre. We will be stunned by how cheap he is when he eventually signs.
Yeah, if I had to guess what I think happens to Charles Omenihu is teams are going to go through the draft and they're going to see if they can get a younger, very comparable player. And then depending on how the draft board shakes, you then sign Charles Omenihu after there. There's different waves of free agency. He missed wave 1 of free agency. Now, I'm sure he probably thought, hey, look at the deal I got this last time. I would say that your market has changed this time as opposed to the last time that you hit free agency. You weren't as productive of a player the last 2 years as you were coming into the deal. You've been injured since then. You've been suspended since then. I don't think you're viewed the same as you were the last time that you were a free agent. So, again, I think he's going to have to ultimately end up signing a 1-year deal or so. Let's just keep the Chiefs theme going, and we'll get to college basketball here coming up in a bit. So Nick Wright every week, dear friend of the show, he goes on Colin Cowherd's show. They always end up arguing and debating about the Chiefs. Listen to their most recent argument about the hometown squad.
Really worry about Kansas City. Joe Thuney is one of the more valuable offensive linemen in the league. Left. And they didn't want him to leave. They couldn't afford him. They don't have a left tackle. They paid a lot for Jalen Moore, who's never been a starter. By the way, they're not going to go 11-0 in one-score games. Raiders are better. Broncos will be better. The Chargers will be better. It never lasts forever.
This is an annual tradition where you pick a new team to win the AFC West, and then midway through the year, you're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. Also, you said the Chiefs didn't want to lose Joe Thuney. Well, was there a gun to Brett Veach's head when he called the Bears and traded him? They didn't lose Joe Thuney. They traded Joe Thuney. So I just got to say, the rest of your bracket feels a lot like we are respecting the teams that were really good last year, except for, of course, the Chiefs.
This is the thing that's most confusing to me for anybody, not just Cowherd, anybody that shares this opinion. I think for the most part, the Chiefs are the same. Now, you can determine on whether or not you think that's a good or a bad thing, but look at their offense. What's different about their offense? It's the same running back room that played in the Super Bowl. It's the same wide receiver room. Now, we don't know about Rashee Rice, but you follow the point that I'm making. It's the same. On defense, yes, they've added Christian Fulton. For the most part, their defense is the same as it was last year. Now, let's see how they handle the draft. Let's see what changes they make. But the Chiefs are largely unchanged. Have the Broncos, Raiders, and Chargers changed that much to close the gap between where they were and Kansas City were in that short a period of time? Because I don't think any of those teams have done that. What moves have the Broncos made that you feel like they've closed the gap with? Is there a move that I'm missing that the Broncos have made that you're thinking, oh, okay. All right, they went out and got a legitimate number 1 wide receiver. They got a great defensive player. Hey, the Broncos look like a team that could go win their division. Have I missed the Chargers move? I haven't missed the Chargers move, right? I mean, do they get somebody on offense that I'm missing? Did they make a big move on defense that I've forgotten? Or is it just, it's year 2, it's Justin Herbert, it's Harbaugh. We expect them to be better this upcoming season. Why are we even talking about the Raiders? Who's the Raiders quarterback? Geno Smith? We think that Geno Smith is entering this division and winning said division? With who? Who is he throwing it to? Brock Bowers and who else? I know last year the 3 teams from the AFC West made the postseason. The Broncos very well make the postseason again. I think they're kind of primed for regression. That's neither here nor there. I think the Chargers are a good team. They very easily can make the postseason. They very easily can miss the postseason. That's just kind of life in the AFC. I haven't seen a single move or thing done by any of the other 3 teams that would lead me to pick them to win the division. Not a single move. Maybe I missed it. You guys can tell me, 913-586-7965. Maybe the Broncos have done something that you think I'm tripping. Maybe the Chargers have made a move and you're thinking, hey, this shores up their passing game. I have not seen a single move from any of those teams that would lead me to pick them to win the division. Especially when Kansas City, I think, is largely the same. I think they're largely the same. Offense, defense. I don't think the Chiefs, as of now, are drastically different than the team that won 17 games last season. The only 2 teams to beat Kansas City last year were Philadelphia, who was the best team in the league, and Buffalo, who was the second best team in the AFC. Yes, the 10-score games thing. That's been a theme of Patrick Mahomes' career. So, yeah, maybe they don't go 10-0 in 1-score games. Yeah, they'll go 8-2 next year in 1-score games then. They'll go 9-1 in 1-score games. They're not going from 10-0 in those games to now 6-4 or 5-5 in those games. There's no reason to think that with Andy Reid's history. There's no reason to think that with Patrick Mahomes' history. I don't want to overthink Kansas City. There's a lot of other teams that we can overthink. We can overthink the Steelers if they get Aaron Rodgers. We can overthink the Indianapolis Colts if Daniel Jones is their starting quarterback. We can overthink the Commanders and can they do it again? If there has been one constant in the National Football League for the last 5-6 seasons or so, it's been the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not spending any time worried about if they're going to win their division or not. It's the one constant in the league. Rob, coming up on the other side, let's get through some of the regions in the NCAA tournament. That's coming up. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Spring may not officially be here until March 20th, but at Ryan Lawn and Tree, we've been preparing for spring all winter. This is Larry Ryan. Unlike companies that shut down for the season, our full-time Ryan pros train nonstop, studying the latest science to deliver even better results every year. No one brings more care and expertise to your lawn and landscape than a Ryan Pro in the Clean Rad truck. Ryan Pros are full-time employee owners, many with degrees in horticulture and turf management. If you ever have a question or a special need, you never call an 800 number. You call your Ryan Pros mobile number and talk to an owner. Get your free lawn InstaQuote online. Just visit ryanlawn.com/spring and get started today. Sign up this month and take 50% off your first lawn application. Our 50% off spring offer is the only one that comes with a Ryan Pro. Visit ryanlawn.com/spring today.
All right, I got an update for you. Remember last week I told you I started Awaken 180 weight loss? Well, in just 2 weeks, I've already lost 12 pounds. Yeah, 12 pounds in 2 weeks. And I know you're like, all right, Cody's been dodging all this stuff. You guys know we went out and did the big listener stuff last week. I'm not skipping dinners. I don't live in a bubble. It's not like that. It's been the opposite. So thanks to Awaken 180, I'm still living my normal life while dropping 12 pounds. Didn't stop me from doing all the normal stuff, just like you. Went to go watch basketball in person last week and everything else, all while losing the weight, and give you the tools you need to do it. Let them help you reach your weight loss goal, just exactly like they're doing for me. I wanted to improve my quality of life, and so can you. Makes me feel better, I feel better, and it's a weekly weight loss without the medications, and you receive free support for life. If you want to learn more, reserve your at-home consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com or give them a call, 844-346-1800.
Transforming your land with a John Deere compact tractor is as easy as connect, latch, load, haul, spread. Cutting grass is as simple as roll, click, mow. Box blading is as effortless as hook, lock, grade. And backhoeing is as convenient as turn around, switch, dig. Because when you've got the versatility to tackle just about any job and dealer support in your own backyard, you just have to get in the seat. Find the right compact tractor for you at johndeere.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Money-back guarantees and parts and labor warranties mean you're not just buying products, you're securing your investment. For a limited time, receive a free furnace when you purchase an AC. Schedule a complimentary proposal online at anthonyphce.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
There's a two-car crash now off to the shoulder of westbound 470 just past Raytown Road. Looking at some freezing rain northeast Colburn Road that is now stopping traffic on the Metro's southeast side, and debris in the roadway causing some distraction westbound 70 just past Lee's Summit. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Hollywood Brown. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. We are about to go through the brackets, the region in the NCAA tournament. We went through a couple of them last show. We went through the East and the Midwest. All right, Rob, why don't we go through the South region right now and kind of get a feel for how we feel about the NCAA tournament? Let's hit it, my man.
Carrington, we'll start our look around the South region, what do you think is the best first-round matchup as you look at the South region, which features the #1 overall seeded Auburn Tigers?
I actually think it got locked in yesterday with North Carolina winning in the first four. I think it's North Carolina against Ole Miss. I think that North Carolina, their inclusion of the NCAA tournament has been one of the early storylines. And with how well they played yesterday, they're a favorite in their game against Ole Miss. It does feel like a little bit of a coin flip kind of game. And I think people are either waiting to say, see, I told you so on either side. either I told you they weren't good enough to make the NCAA tournament, or if you're like Seth Greenberg and you have them making a run to the Sweet 16, you can also say, see, this is why we felt like they should have been in the NCAA tournament, because they could go on a little bit of a run. If it's not for them, I think Louisville and Creighton is actually a pretty interesting game. With the backdrop of Lexington, Kentucky, which is right down the street from Louisville, Creighton is a team that has made a deep run in the NCAA tournament. They have one of the better bigs in Ryan Kalkbrenner on their team. I think Louisville and Creighton is actually a pretty fun, interesting round one matchup. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss, North Carolina. I'm also going to go with Louisville and Creighton.
Here's the thing. I love a lot of the games in this region. I actually think the two regions we are previewing today are where the best games are going to be on Thursday, Friday, because Yale A&M has a chance to be fascinating. You saw a lot of A&M this year. They're a little bit hot and cold. You talk about Auburn, wilting down the stretch. There was a time where A&M was a top 5 team, and then they have not looked that way since. Yale is a good mid-major. Yale could beat A&M, and the 5-12 in this region is everyone's favorite matchup in the tournament, San Diego versus Michigan. That is also a really fun game and an under-the-radar game to watch. I know 7-10 games generally aren't ooh, sexy, but it's the Patino no one's talking about. Rick's son, Richard, and New Mexico take on Shaka Smart and Marquette. The round one matchups in this region are some of the best in the NCAA tournament.
Can you help me understand maybe this love for UC San Diego? Now, I'm not saying that they can't win this game. They're ranked 60th on offense. They're ranked 32nd on defense. And they're not a team that we've really spent a lot of time with, especially when you look at it on the other side. A team like Michigan that is playing their best brand of basketball right now. They looked really good in the Big Ten tournament. They finished 3rd in the Big Ten. It feels like everybody is on the opposite side of Michigan, which usually is the right side to be on. You should take Michigan in this matchup.
I think, and this is what CJ Moore said yesterday on the show, part of the allure of it is San Diego is really good at causing turnovers. You mentioned they're top 32 in
Michigan
defense.
Be loose with the pill.
Michigan's like Kansas on the road. They love to give the ball away. It's their favorite little thing. So that's usually the starting recipe for a upset is one team has the more shots attempts, and that's a good start. Speaking of San Diego, Carrington, before we get to your sleeper in this region, let's talk about the double-digit seed, because there's a lot of options. Is there a double-digit seed you think could make the second weekend of the NCAA tournament in the South region?
I guess you would have to consider UC San Diego. You just mentioned it. They're one of the more popular picks. We gave you the stat yesterday. In 4 of the last 6 NCAA tournaments, a 13 seed has won in round 1. Which of them is that going to be? Is that going to be A&M or Yale? I actually like A&M. I think they're a pretty good team. I think they're well coached. There's other 4-3 matchups that I think are a little bit more vulnerable than I think Texas A&M is. I actually don't really see a double-digit seed here that I love in round 1. If New Mexico beat Marquette, I don't think you would consider that to be a sleeper in any way. I actually think at least in round 1, I think for the most part, this is going to be chalk. I think Michigan's going to win. I think Texas A&M is going to win. I think Louisville's going to win in Lexington. I don't see a lot of surprises in round 1 in the South.
This is every year there's one bracket that leads to chaos. We know how it works. There's one area where it's just pandemonium. We've seen it with St. Pete. It's just craziness galore. This feels like that bracket to me. I could see Lipscomb beating Iowa State because they're limping into the tournament. I could see New Mexico making a run because they could beat Marquette and they could beat Michigan State because Michigan State does not shoot the ball well. I think San Diego could play Yale in the second round. That would mean that a double-digit seed is guaranteed to make the round of Sweet 16. Louisville could be playing a home game in the second round against Auburn. That could get weird. I think this has all the ingredients to be the chaos bracket. So me and you just see this one differently. Who's a sleeper in this region? We'll get to your pick. Who's a team that's flying under the radar in the South region that you think could make a run to the Final Four?
Texas A&M. They beat Auburn 2 weeks ago. Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M is... I think you could maybe argue they're the second best team in this region. I'm not super sold on Michigan State. I do think with the injury that you just mentioned, I think that A&M is a better team than Iowa State. I think they're better than Michigan, and I think they match up fairly well against Auburn. Again, they just played Auburn a week or so ago, and they beat them by double digits. Yes, A&M is a sleeper to come out of this region.
Me and you are in similar pages because I'm saying the SEC. Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is a sleeper to come out of this region. If Ole Miss can get past Carolina, I'm down on Iowa State. Their second best scorer is not playing. You can beat Iowa State, and then it's a make or miss game against Michigan State, who's 338th or something in the country in 3-point percentage. I could see a scenario where Ole Miss, from everyone that tells me it's the best conference in the country, I could see Ole Miss making a run out of this bracket. But time to make the pick. Who do you have coming out of this bracket? Who is your Final Four team coming out of the South region?
I think a team from the SEC is coming out of the South. I think it's either going to be Auburn, Texas A&M, or Ole Miss. I think those are the three most likely teams. I understand it's Izzo in March. I just don't love this Michigan State team. I don't think they're explosive enough offensively. I do think a team from the SEC is going to make it. I'll take Auburn. I think they're the best team, and I think they have the best player on this side of the region. I'm going to take Auburn to make the Final Four out of the South. I don't love this region at all. There's not a Houston that I love, a Florida that I love in this region. I'll take Auburn, but I'm not the biggest fan.
We talked about it earlier in the show. Auburn fits the KenPom criteria. Auburn is the team coming out of this region. Sometimes the best coach and best player is a good combination. Look at the Super Bowl this year. I know I'm cross-sport comparing, but Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and as much as I hate Nick Sirianni, he's clearly a good coach. Like that, sometimes just taking the best player and the best coach is a good start. Bruce Pearl and Johnny Broom, I'm with you. It feels like the ones he's coming out of this region, but I think they're going to go through layers of easy games to get through because it's just going to be a chaos-riddled region.
That was our look through the South region in the NCAA tournament. Be sure to check out our preview yesterday if you want to hear more about the brackets. We actually have one more region that we're going to get to. Matt Verderam is going to join us here coming up in a little bit. Really happy to catch up with him and talk a little of NFL action. We talked about this a little bit earlier today. Mel Kiper actually has Jackson Dart going in the top 10 in the NFL draft.
Well, first of all, last year in Mock 3.0, I had Bo Nix going to a team that he ended up taking, and the Denver Broncos. I got talked out of that in Mock 4.0. Nobody's talking me out of this one, Granny. Jackson Dart locked into the Saints at 9 for me right now. Think about, he went west with USC to the SEC, right? Bo Nix went SEC out west to Oregon. I think when you look at Jackson Dart, the improvement, completion percentage up every year. Okay, interceptions down, and he maintained that at 5.6. Completion percentage up every year. Touchdowns up every year. Jackson Dart with his legs, 1,500 rushing yards the last 3 years. Okay, 8 rushing touchdowns 2 years ago. That's the underrated part of Jackson Dart's game. This is an NFC now, adding Jaden and Caleb, Michael Penix Jr., the division with Penix Jr., and 2 number 1s overall, Baker and Bryce Young. And now you get Jackson Dart. You got to keep up with the division, Greeny. The Saints, you get new coach, new quarterback coming in together.
That was Mel Kiper earlier today on ESPN talking about the possibility of Jackson Dart going number 9 overall to the New Orleans Saints. Seems very high to me, but I do think that Jackson Dart is going to be picked in round 1. We'll talk to Matt Verderam about that coming up in just a bit. Before Matt Verderam joins us on the show, I want you guys to take a look outside. I want you to look at how cold it is. I want you to look at how dreary it is. And I want you to think of this. Over the last 10 days, it has been the most Kansas City weather I can ever think of. If somebody asked you what it's like to live in Kansas City that didn't grow up here, that doesn't live here, I want you to remember what the last 10 days have been like, and that's what it is. It wasn't that long ago that it was 80 degrees outside, and I was telling you to go on a picnic with your lady. It wasn't that long ago that you were taking your little ones to the park. You were outside running, riding bikes. Spring felt like it was here. It was not that long ago. The Big 12 tournament was just here. People were playing basketball in the middle of the street. It was great. People were hanging out at Power and Light. It was phenomenal. It snowed last week. They think it's going to snow potentially today. We had 50-mile-an-hour winds. They're telling you you can't light anything on fire outside. It's that dangerous. If you want to explain to someone what it's like to live in the Midwest, take the last 10 days of weather in Kansas City. We've gotten all 4 seasons in the last 10 days. It has been summer. It has been spring. It has been winter, fall. It's seasons that we've never even heard of before. We have got the full gambit of those over the last week and a half or so. Let's go to the phone lines right now to be joined by our guy, Matt Verderam, and go through some of the top stories in the National Football League. Matt, how you doing, my man?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing fantastic, man. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers lands?
Pittsburgh. Look, I've never really bought into this whole thing with Minnesota. Talking to people in the league, I think there's been some intrigue as to whether or not he would go there. I think would love to go there if that was a possibility. But I was in the building in Minnesota in January, and there is a genuine feeling that J.J. McCarthy is going to be very, very good. Now, look, who knows if he is? We'll see. Kevin O'Connell is a very, very good quarterbacks coach, very good offensive mind. So I don't think Rodgers is going to end up there. I've never felt that way. I still think Pittsburgh makes the most sense. There is some talk that, maybe he's hesitant to leave New York. He's kind of put down some roots in the last couple of years. But I think in the end, if you're Rodgers going to be 42 this year, you have a shot at least to be reasonably competitive with Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's true with the Giants.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I mean, going to the Giants to me is just unserious. I can't take it seriously if you go to the Giants. I mean, they could be looking at a scenario in which their general manager, coach, and quarterback are all gone for next year. That's just not a great system to me to build your foundation on. I'm with you. If he joins the Pittsburgh Steelers, they at least got a shot at making the postseason, and that's the most interesting destination for him. You got a great coach. You got talent around you. I can't really think of many positives for the Giants other than you didn't move.
No, there's not a lot of positives. And with Pittsburgh, that is an organization that is very hesitant to change. They've had 3 coaches since 1969. I mean, the Rooney family is very traditional, conservative in their approach. That being said, Mike Tomlin's been there for a long time, and that team in the last decade has not won anything. They barely won a playoff game in the last decade. So I do think there's a little bit of internal pressure that isn't normally there in Pittsburgh. Hey, you don't have to win the Super Bowl, but can't be an easy out in the wild card round. I mean, when you think of the Steelers in recent years, that's what they've been. They were an easy out last year. They were an easy out against Buffalo a couple of years ago. They were an easy out in Kansas City 3 or 4 years back. They've been non-competitive in the playoffs. And while I don't think anybody in the upper crust of Pittsburgh's management or ownership is sitting there saying, yeah, you guys got to go beat Baltimore and Buffalo and Kansas City, you've got to be competitive. You've got to be able to win a playoff game. You've got to at least be able to kind of stoke the flame of contention. They're not doing that if they don't have Rodgers. There's no other option for them. So I expect them to make a real strong push to try to close that deal.
Matt, give me a team that you loved their free agency. Give me a team that made you scratch your head in free agency.
So, look, the team that made me scratch my head in a lot of ways was Cincinnati. Now, to be fair to the Bengals, they've re-signed Chase and Higgins, but I still look at the Bengals. I don't really understand what they're doing. It's very easy to just look at them and say, well, they have Burrow and Chase and Higgins, and maybe Hendrickson. We'll see how it plays out. And that's enough to at least be competitive. And my answer is no, it's not. Burrow just had what very well might be the best statistical season of his career. Jamar Chase just won the receivers triple crown. Higgins had 10 touchdowns, and Hendrickson led the league in sacks, and they didn't make the playoffs. They did nothing to get better. Nothing. Bringing those guys back makes them better long term. It doesn't make them better now. They had those guys. Those guys have been there. They didn't add anybody. So I just, if you're the Bengals, it feels like they're just kind of treading water at best, falling behind as time goes on. By the way, I said the same thing for the Chargers, who I thought were going to add a receiver, maybe get some help. They added Mekhi Becton, which I like better than that. It was the same teams coming back. On the other side of it, I love what Washington did, and part of that is beyond free agency. They trade for Debo. Debo's not the same guy, but that's fine. They don't need him to be the same guy. They need him to be good. And then they got Tunzel, who I think really solidifies that offensive line, gives Daniel some protection on the blind side. I like what they did there. It felt like they were just smart. They didn't panic. They didn't overly invest. They kind of were able to pick and choose. I think Washington's in a strong position moving forward. I also like what Minnesota did, adding to that defense. I think Minnesota got better. The Vikings, to me, if McCarthy is good next year, they're a real contender. The Vikings have a lot of pieces in place.
It's interesting because there haven't really been, I would say, many major trades so far this offseason. I saw a stat a couple of days ago that Adam Schefter tweeted out that there has not been a trade that involved a first-round pick. This is the closest to the NFL draft since 1993. Usually there's one of those kind of major trades that happen.
Right.
I'm wondering who could that possibly be? Do you see one of those deals being possible between now and the NFL draft?
It's always possible, but I don't. Right now, there's not a lot of guys. I mean, Hendrickson, if he gets moved, there's not going to be a first-round pick. Okay, that's a late second, early third type of deal. If Cousins gets moved, obviously that's not a first-round pick. Stafford, had he have been traded, depending on the team, it could have been. Although with the Giants and the Raiders, it probably would have been more like a second and then plus. I don't know that player's out there. I don't know, if Chase had gotten traded, sure. Obviously, that's not going to happen now. I don't know who that guy is, and it doesn't mean it can't happen. Sometimes these things come out of nowhere. A team makes a call, a guy's available, that think would be available, and boom. But no, the DK Metcalfs of the world already dealt second-round pick. Like I think that, we're probably going to go into the draft very much more likely than not with everybody owning their first-round pick.
Right now, we're talking to our guy, Matt Verderam, for a couple more minutes, going through some of the top storylines in the National Football League. Let's start with a couple of the proposed rule changes. The Lions want to change the seeding process. Basically, they just want the best teams to be ranked 1 through 7 in the postseason. It doesn't matter if you won your division or not. Do you like that change?
No, I don't. I think it's important to win your division, and I get it. I understand that a lot of times the 5th seed has a better record than the 4th seed. I know why they feel that way, and that's fine. But no, I don't agree with that. I hate that the NBA does their playoff seedings the way they do, where you don't have to win the division to be a 3 seed. To me, it cheapens the division. Then why even have divisions? Just get rid of them and just have a conference schedule, and you just play everybody once, and then you play whatever it is, a couple games over in the other conference and randomize it or whatever. I think it matters. I think if you don't have division winners having seeding advantages, it's going to cheapen the whole thing as far as the divisional crown and what it means. It should matter if you win your division. You should be rewarded. And every once in a while you're going to get some team that goes 9-8 and wins the division. I get it, but no, I don't support that.
The other proposed rule change has been the tush push. This is my feeling towards the tush push. They can't prove that it adds to injuries because that would be an easy way to get rid of it. If they could prove, hey, this is unsafe for players, they could get rid of it. Where a lot of the pushback to the rule to me simply is, well, one team is just better at it than everybody else, and that's not enough for me to want to remove the play.
I don't enjoy watching it, but I would not be in favor of removing it because, to your point, if everybody was really good at it, fine. But everybody's not really good at it. We watched the Bills basically go home in January because they couldn't get a foot against Kansas City over and over and over and over trying to do it. And Josh Allen is the size of a linebacker, and they couldn't do it. The Eagles are great at it. And to me, if you perfect, it's almost like if back in the 60s, teams said, well, we've got to get rid of the sweep. You're not allowed to do the sweep because the Lombardi Packers are great at it. Well, that's your problem. Stop it. I understand the thought process. Like, look, it's not aesthetically pleasing and it's not something we want to watch. I get all that. The Eagles should not be penalized for being great at something. I don't believe in that. I think, look, if you don't like it, stop it. Figure out a way to stop it. You can't tell me there's no way to stop it. There's a way to stop it. Nobody's figured it out quite yet. But you stop it. If every team had a 95% success rate, I'd say, yeah, just get rid of it. But that's not the case.
I got a couple of Chiefs questions before we get you out of here. What do you make of their most recent moves to basically try to run back last year's offense? They brought back Kareem Hunt. They also made the decision to bring back Juju Smith-Schuster. For the most part, as of now, their offense is virtually the exact same as it was for the Super Bowl.
I don't mind them bringing back Kareem Hunt because I know Kareem Hunt's going to have a lesser role. Or, at least I should say, no, you would think a lesser role they did a year ago. I don't mind that. The Juju Smith-Schuster thing, I just don't understand. Just go get somebody who's younger and more athletic and can move and is going to play more than 12 games. that one I don't understand. I know, look, I know he's beloved in the locker room, and I know Mahomes trusts him, and there's value in that. There truly is. But, do I love that? No. Am I going to freak out about him being the fifth receiver on the depth chart? No. Look, I will say this. This offense and this entire team, this is going to come down. This whole season's come down to one thing, okay? Can the left side of the line block? If the left side of the line blocks, they're the best team in football, at least in the AFC, in my opinion. And I get it. They got blown out in the Super Bowl, and everybody remembers that game and just looks at it as like a referendum. They went to the Super Bowl having lost one game last year. Like, they are a team that is absolutely the upper crust. But, is Rice going to be there at the beginning of the year? If not, for how long will he not be there? Worthy, I guess, to be fair, there's somewhat of the same question, although it seems like it's not quite as much of a question as it maybe initially appeared to be. The Chiefs are going to add Rice and Hollywood Brown to this offense, essentially. But it's all about, can they block? If they can block, they'll be good offensively. If they can't, they'll be a train wreck.
Couple more questions here, Matt, and we appreciate the time. Would you rather have Jalen Moore on the contract that he has, or would you rather have Cam Robinson on the one that he just signed with the Texans? He got a 1-year, $12 million deal that maxes up to $14.5.
Probably the Jalen Moore, though, because if you actually look at it, they can get out of it after 1 year. Like, there's a little bit of dead money and all that, but they could get out of it. And I think Cam Robinson, and I don't mean this as a compliment or derisively. He's a guy. Like, he's an average left tackle. He's not great. He's had games where he's been really good. He's had games where he's been brutal. And I think why he was out there so long was the end of his time in Minnesota. That offensive line, and he in particular, really struggled. Part of that was Darnold's fault, but he struggled as well. Jalen Moore, look, you talk to people, around that signing, and there's a sense of, listen, there is the unknown. There's no arguing that. He's had 12 career starts. But they like the way he was playing in pass pro in San Francisco. They like his ability to anchor. There's a thought that, look, you get him in there, coach him up, get some more experience, and he can go out and be good. And I think if you're the Chiefs, 2 for 30, you're not paying him to be Trent Williams. You're paying him to not be a road cone. You're paying him to go in there and just be good. And if he's not good, they'll cut him after a year. If he's good, they'll keep him. If he's great, they'll extend him. But I think I'd rather have him and his potential upside than Cam Robinson for 1 year. I know, look, there's no upside. He is what he is.
That is our guy, Matt Verderam, joining us on the show today to go through some of the top stories in the National Football League. Matt, great stuff, man. I don't know if you're a March Madness guy, but enjoy March.
St. John's, all done from New York, man. Rooting for St. John's like crazy.
Absolutely. That's Matt Verderam joining us on the show today. Always happy to catch up with him. I want to talk more about what he said there at the end regarding the Chiefs and their left tackle. We'll get to basketball coming up at the top of the hour. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Jim Costa with Cash the Ticket. It's March, so Mike Valeni and I are all over the tournament again this year. There's just nothing like betting in March. Breakdowns of every region and every game. From conference tournaments to the Final Horn, we'll have the picks and the plays on every single game. Cinderella spotlights, upset alerts, and some of that value for the last team standing. It's tourney time, so hunker down and bet the board with us. Subscribe and listen to Cash the Ticket in the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
FanDuel is turning the excitement up even higher for college basketball this March. Through the first 2 rounds of the tournament, bet on the lowest winning seed of the day, and you'll win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. Now, that's an upset you will not be upset about. FanDuel is the best place to bet on the tournament. You can bet on everything from point spreads, money lines, and team totals, and so much more. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download America's #1 sportsbook app today and back your dog of the day, because in March, anything can happen. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live money line wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split evenly among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Heartland Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at powellkc.com.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
T-Mobile home internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Zach?
I'm rehearsing. There are so many benefits. You gotta talk fast.
T-Mobile home internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by J.D. Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try singing it. T-Mobile has price lock.
They won't raise your rate on internet.
Hulu and Paramount Plus on them.
Get T-Mobile home internet all in for just $55 a month with auto pay and any postpaid voice line.
Additional terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Royals coverage sponsored by Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer and Jersey Mike's Month of Giving.
Join us in supporting Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer and Jersey Mike's Month of Giving. Visit any Casey, Topeka, or Lawrence Jersey Mike's and donate. You can also donate through the Jersey Mike's app. Help the fight against childhood cancer with Braden's Hope and Jersey Mike's.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Freezing rain, slowing, and even stopping traffic northeast Colburn Road on the Metro's southeast side. Debris in the roadway that's located northbound 435 just past 70. That's closing the right lane. And a stalled car closing the right lane in the downtown loop, southbound 35 to eastbound 70. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, let's talk basketball at the top of the hour. Let's just finish our Chiefs conversation. This has maybe been a little bit more of a Chiefs hour than I expected it to be, but you know what? I'm always here to talk a little bit of NFL. Cam Robinson has just signed to be the Houston Texans left tackle. So they've had a little bit of musical chairs. They had Laramie Tunsil. They traded him to the Commanders. They now need a left tackle. They have signed Cam Robinson. They signed Cam Robinson to a 1-year, $12 million deal that maxes out at $14.5 million. I want to replay what Matt Verderame had to say, and I'll react on the backside of it because I've told you guys I think you need to start looking at left tackle a lot more like quarterback and how you acquire the position. Also, sort of how we evaluate the position, and I think Matt Verderame kind of said it here. Here's what he said.
Jalen Moore, look, you talk to people, around that signing, and there's a sense of, listen, there is the unknown. There's no arguing that. He said 12 career starts, but they like the way he was playing in pass pro in San Francisco. They like his ability to anchor. There's a thought that, look, you get him in there, coach him up, get some more experience, that he can go out and be good. And I think if you're the Chiefs, 2 for 30, you're not paying him to be Trent Williams. You're paying him to not be a road cone. You're paying him to go in there and just be good. And if he's not good, they'll cut him after a year. If he's good, they'll keep him. If he's great, they'll extend him. But I think I'd rather have him and his potential upside than Cam Robinson for 1 year. I know, look, there's no upside. He is what he is.
Does that not sound like the debates that we have at quarterback every single offseason? Cam Robinson is a journeyman quarterback. He's Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's not the worst quarterback you can have. But if you sign Tyrod Taylor, we all know what your ceiling is and what your expectations are as a team. Jalen Moore is the quarterback that got 5 starts, and there's some upside there. That quarterback was Brock Osweiler. We've seen that quarterback work out before. We've also seen that quarterback fail before. We've seen the guy that get a small amount of starts and finally gets a chance to go somewhere else and turns into a pretty productive player. The Chiefs had that player when we were kids in Rich Gannon. Same kind of story. Or again, it could be Brock Osweiler. I understand why the Chiefs did what they did. I think overpaying for Dan Moore was the wrong decision. I think that the Commanders gave up too much for Laramie Tunsil at this stage in his career. They were never going to get Ronnie Stanley. I don't believe that he was going to change teams. I don't know if the Chiefs had a whole lot of options. I think option number one was you can go get a Gardner Minshew, Teddy Bridgewater type at quarterback, and that's Cam Robinson. He is not the best left tackle. He is not the worst left tackle. You can win 7 games with that quarterback. You're not making the playoffs, but you're also not getting the number 1 overall pick. And I think the Chiefs took more of a gamble. Yes, it is possible that Jalen Moore is a worse left tackle than Cam Robinson. There also is a chance that he is just a better left tackle. He is a younger, more athletic, and you have more team control over him for not that much higher of a price. You got Jalen Moore for $21 million. The Texans are playing Cam Robinson $12 million, maybe $14 for 1 season of him. I think the Chiefs got the best deal that was out there for the position. Now, there's a reason why he was available. There is a reason why you were able to get him so cheap. If you hit on left tackle, that is one of the better moves that we've seen a team make. If you miss, you'll be in this same conversation again, where either, like quarterback, you need to draft your own and develop your own. You can go find the bridge type. You can go find the Cam Robinsons, the DJ Humphreys, the Donovan Smiths, and continue to be in that ballpark. Or take another chance on a Jalen Moore, a guy who has shown you a little bit of promise, hasn't proven that he is a consistent starter yet in the league, and you see what you can get. I don't mind the path that they chose at left tackle. Given the options, that's the one I would have chosen as well.
I don't mind the value of it, and I understand the upside of it. There is a scenario in which the Chiefs signed a cheap left tackle, and he's no better than they had last season. And now they're worse at left guard. It is going to be a fascinating case study because both sides of the coin obviously exist. And that's the case with all free agents, but I feel like despite, me and you disagreeing early in free agency about Ronnie Stanley, you kind of know what Ronnie Stanley is. We don't know what Jalen Moore is. I know Matt Verderame says you talk to people in the organization, they like how he anchors and, other football terms like that. And I've seen our friend Mitchell Schwartz on Instagram talking about how there are some things he likes, and all the film people, there are things to like. I'm not disliking the player, but at the end of the day, we don't know. So for the value, I think it was worth the very small swing, and let's see what happens. But there's a world in which the Chiefs took a small swing at left tackle, got no better, and because that small swing, had to move on from their left guard and got worse. And it's possible in week 5, 6, 7, 8, where they had problems on the left side of their line last year, the same problems could exist this season. It's cheaper, but is it better is going to be the $1 million question.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do think that is the $1 million question with the Chiefs, and that's why if you're going to save the money that you saved on Joe Thuney by letting him go and getting rid of that cap hit, I just wanted to see how else you were going to do it. I'm with you. You have now simply shifted the problem. You've shifted the problem around on the offensive line. That's why, at least for me, I want to see how you spend that money elsewhere. Are you better at pass rush? Are you better at running back? Are you better at wide receiver? I'm with you. There is a chance that their offensive line is not any better than it was than the one that they had in the Super Bowl. So you got to find other ways to improve the rest of your team. Let's see if they find that as we continue to go through the offseason. Really quick point here, and we'll get to basketball coming up at the top of the hour. Deion Sanders has an innovative way to change the college football spring game. Listen to this.
I like to play against another team in the spring. That's what I'm trying to do. right now. To have it competitive, playing against your own guys kind of get monotonous, and you really can't tell the level of your guys because, you know, it's the same old. Everybody kind of know each other. Towards the end, I would like to style it like the pros. I would like to practice against someone for a few days, then you have the spring game. And I think the public will be satisfied with that tremendously. I think it's a tremendous idea. Yeah, I've told those personnel who should understand that it's a tremendous idea.
I'm telling you guys right now, this idea is the future of the spring game. The spring game is dying right before our very eyes. Teams are simply opting not to do them. I think the spring game is a pretty important factor in the college football ecosystem. It is another weekend in which people drive to these small towns in America and spend money and go to restaurants and stay at hotels. This is a thing around the country. I don't think that people are super interested in watching the scrimmages anymore. I think what college football teams need to do is start doing what Colorado's idea is. Now, no one expects Colorado to play Nebraska in the middle of April, but could Colorado play a local D2 school and they'll make it more like a game and they'll have tickets and you'll feel like you're getting an actual game? That's something I would go to. Instead of Missouri playing SEMO in August, why can't they play SEMO in April? That's a game that I would go to. Hey, I get to see the new quarterback. I get to see some of the new players. You can treat it like an NFL preseason game. You get to see Sam Horn. You get to see some of the other young guys, and they treat it like a game. Sure, if you want to make it where you can't hit the quarterback, yeah, but these teams are tackling during this time. These teams are practicing during this time. Why not, instead of playing these 1AA schools and D2 schools during the season, why don't you just simply play them in April and treat that like your spring game? I think there is a chance that this is the future of the spring game because the way that they have been doing it for the last 50, 60 years, I think teams are telling you we don't want to do that anymore. And I think if you were talking about the trickle-down economics of how it would affect some of these small college towns, that some of the best financial days they have are when the football team is playing. I don't think you want to lose one of those days, and that's what losing the spring game could be. You could fix this by making a very simple adjustment and changing the way that you do it. Let's get back to basketball coming up at the top of the hour. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Freezing rain slowing and even stopping traffic northeast Colburn Road on the Metro's southeast side. Debris in the roadway that's located northbound 435 just past 70. That's closing the right lane. And a stalled car closing the right lane in the downtown loop, southbound 35 to eastbound 70. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
From Kansas City to the capital city, Washburn University will surprise you. A tight-knit college in a city of opportunity. Washburn offers the best of both worlds. Close, but not too close. Small classes and big experiences. Public, prestigious, and affordable. Above all, Washburn delivers a personalized education you won't find at larger schools. See how Washburn is just right at washburn.edu/KC.
GimmeTheVin.com big cash giveaway. We're going to take all the cars that we buy and we're going to add $25,000 additional in the month of March. It might be a $1,000 car, it might be a $100,000 car, but you're going to get $25,000 more dollars if you're the winner. You can't afford not to shop us. Sell us your car. GimmeTheVin.com.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Here's a question. Would you take your storm-damaged car to a body shop that only did bumpers? Of course not. So why call just a roofing company after your entire home or business goes through a storm? Get more than a roofer. Get an experienced restoration team. Get PAC Construction Services. We're seasoned construction professionals and, are you ready? Former insurance adjusters. Our 100 years of diverse and specialized experience means faster repairs, fewer hassles, and fewer delays. Our emergency response team is on call 24/7 for storm damage, fire, water, and even mold restoration. Veteran-owned, Kansas City trusted. No one will care more for your home or business inside and out than we will. We're ready when you need us. Visit PacKC.com and schedule a free inspection. With KC's recent storm history, there's a good chance you could already have covered damage. Find out today at PacKC.com. That's PACTKC.com.
Important Social Security news. President Trump's Doge chief, Elon Musk, says Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. And he says there's so much fraud, it's the big one to eliminate. Now, Rob Finnerty is on Newsmax tonight, warning that your Social Security could be in danger. Already, Doge is slashing half the Social Security offices across the nation. Rob Finnerty says that's wrong. Millions will find their benefits denied. You paid into Social Security all your life. Now, Rob Finnerty exposes the lies about Social Security and why it must be protected. Watch Rob's special series on the dangers to Social Security at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app. Millions of Americans are switching to Newsmax because it's news they can trust. It's real news for real people.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The off-season is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com. Renner forward and back.
RENNER. Listen to Opening Day between the Royals and Guardians with Vern's On Deck show starting at 2. First pitch with Denny Matthews just after 3. Right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
All right, Rob, let's get back to talking about basketball. There are two teams that are for sure going to emerge in March. Team 1 is major college team that's a 4 or a 5 seed that hasn't quite been able to all put it together, and they're kind of like how Missouri fans are thinking. Man, we've got a good team. If we could just get hot for 2-3 games, we could wake up and we could find ourselves in the Elite Eight. That is a real team. Last year, that team was Alabama. Last year, that team was Clemson. Duke last year was a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. San Diego State made a little bit of a run last season in the tournament. There is going to be that 4 or 5 seed that is going into it thinking, hey, we got a shot if everything comes together. And it's going to come together for the next 3 or 4 games. Rob, as we are looking through this bracket, who do you think that could potentially be? Let me give you a couple of teams I think it could be. Number 1 is Illinois. I think Illinois is a good basketball team. I also think that they are in a region where I think you could win a game against Texas or Xavier. You could beat a Kentucky team that's a little bit young. You could then potentially knock off either it's a Tennessee or a UCLA in the Sweet 16. You look up and the 6th seed Illinois Fighting Illini are playing Houston, and it is the 1-6 matchup in the Midwest region. I think it could be either the winner of BYU and VCU. BYU is a more veteran, older team. They're a team that can shoot it really well. I could see BYU being a team that gets hot and shoots itself to the Sweet 16. You then got a one-game scenario against a team like Alabama coming out of the East region, a team that doesn't play a whole lot of defense, a team that plays a very comparable style to BYU, and they're the 4 through 6 seed that kind of gets hot and gets right. I think there's a couple of teams in the South region, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, 2 teams from the SEC. One of those, I guess, middle-tier SEC teams is just going to go on a run. You're used to this level of competition. You're used to a stretch where you played Alabama, Florida, and then you went on the road and played Auburn. Wait, now hold on. I get to play Yale? I haven't played a team as bad as Yale in 3 months or so. Oh, wait, we could play Michigan? We've played this Michigan team 7-8 times this year in the NCAA tournament. Yes, your Florida could win this thing. Your Auburn could win this thing. I think there's going to be another team from the SEC that's a 4 through a 6 seed that makes a little bit of a run. Texas A&M and Ole Miss could be that team. In the West region, I guess Memphis could be that team. I'm not the biggest on Memphis, but I guess Memphis could potentially be that team. There's a lot of people that think that Maryland could be a team that potentially gets hot and goes on a little bit of a run. Ultimately, though, they would just run up against Florida, and I'm just not picking against Florida, at least not in their own region. And we'll talk more about the kind of double-digit seed that's going to get hot. But if you look at last year's NCAA tournament, there was a 4 seed that ended up making the Final Four. I think the most basic standard, how you fill out your bracket, you take 2 1 seeds, you take a 2 seed, and you take a 4 seed. Who could that potential 4 seed be? Last year, Duke was that 4 seed that made the run, and they lost to the 11 seed NC State. If you look at the last handful of years, there's usually been that double-digit seed that made a little bit of a run. Who could that team potentially be? Is there a 4 through 6 seed that you're looking at the tournament that you think is particularly dangerous that could be the bracket-busting team?
They aren't in the 4 through 6, but they fit this narrative because the school I'm about to pick is a traditional good school who is having a subpar season, but you know they have the ability. It's Gonzaga. I know Gonzaga is an 8 seed, so they don't fit that 4 through 6 hey mentality. That's usually where A&M, who's a good school that had a little bit of a down end of the season. That's where your Purdue's and Michigan. But I think Gonzaga fits all the criteria you laid out. They are doing it from an 8 seed. They're a KenPom top 10 school. This show loves KenPom. They're a KenPom top 10 school. They played Georgia in round 1. They're a trendy upset pick in round 2 over Houston. And if they can get past Houston, which is a monumental ask, I understand that. From there, they placed what? A ACC team in Clemson that was the 3rd best in their conference? You could see Gonzaga winning that game. Gonzaga is a team that Mark Few is a staple of the Sweet 16. Gonzaga is a fixture in the NCAA tournament. I could see they had a little bit of a bad season, but they finished hot. They won their conference tournament. They're peaking at the right time. I could see them beating a Houston, ending up in the Elite 8 or Sweet 16. They're not a 4 through 6 vibe, but they have that traditional power that fell on a little bit of hard times energy.
Let me ask you this. Now, this could potentially just be a 1-year sample size. That's why I think it's a good conversation. Do you think that the mid-major is dead? I asked that because last season, there was no mid-major that made the Sweet 16. The teams that made the Sweet 16 were all power conference teams. Now, there were varying degrees of those teams, but there was not a traditional mid-major team. Now, a couple of years ago, Princeton won their second-round matchup. They actually beat Missouri. They also had Florida Atlantic. That was the year that Florida Atlantic made the Final Four and made a deep run. That player then transferred to Arkansas the next year. Do you think that the transfer portal, yes, it has risen the floor for some of these schools, and it has caused a team like Missouri or Iowa State or Auburn to be able to grab up a bunch of transfers, they move up a level, and you can be competitive the next season. But those kids have to transfer from somewhere, and they're coming from the Cleveland States. They're coming from the smaller schools, and now they're going to Kansas, Missouri, the rest of the country. Do you think that maybe one of the unintended consequences of the transfer portal is we are now zapping some of the juice from these mid-major teams in the NCAA tournament?
That's an interesting question, and CJ Moore knows more about college basketball than me, and he kind of hinted at that too. I'm going to say this. I think it's a blip. Last year being a blip that the mid-major got ruined, because before Florida Atlantic made their run, were people like, man, one day John L. Davis is going to be a great Razorback. He had to start somewhere. He had to still be at a mid-major before they plucked him. This year, Bennett Sturtz, I'll use Drake as the example, is a really good basketball player. He's one of the third-team All-American. He's a really good player. He's going to get plucked the next season, but you can't get plucked right now. He's on a team. I could see them making a run. People on I can't pronounce the name. He's the kid from New Zealand. He's the point guard on San Diego. He's eligible for another year. He will have a game in this tournament where he could make some noise before he gets plucked. So I don't think the mid-major is dead, because we just don't know the next wave of the mid-major players. You're right. John L. Davis left Florida Atlantic. The big guy from that Florida Atlantic team, whose name escapes me, he's now at Michigan. Like, he followed Dusty May. Like that,
yeah, but I guess
he had to be a mid-major at one time. That player still exists in this tournament. He hasn't been plucked yet.
Yeah, I'm with you though. But I guess the argument would be is any one of those players that pops up, they can only be a one-hit wonder. And if you pop at Drake and you're Bennett Sturtz and you've developed into one of the best point guards in the country, you are not going back to Drake next year. It is not in your financial interest to go back to that school next season. It is not in your best basketball interest to go there. Kansas then calls you and asks you to come play there, and you take the Kansas job. It's just what is happening to college basketball players is the same thing that happens to college basketball coaches. You are one of the best coaches at a mid-major. Sure, you can stay at St. Peter's if you want. You can't make all the money that you can make. You don't have the best career advancement if you stay there. Why don't you come work for us? That's what's happening now. So that's why I think this tournament is a really interesting kind of thing, because you and I grew up in most college basketball where, hey, a lot of those mid-majors had a bunch of juniors and seniors, and they had a bunch of juniors and seniors that had been playing together for 3 or 4 years. So by the time you're a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament, hey, you really got a chance to shock the world. I don't know if the current system allows a team like Wichita State from a couple of years ago to happen. Think about Wichita State. Wichita State had Fred VanVleet, who was turned out to be, a 10-year pro in the league, one of the better point guards. It had Clee Anthony early. It had Ron Baker. No chance a school like Wichita State would have all those kids right now. The moment Kansas or Duke found out about Ron Baker, hey, we're calling you. We need to give you $2 million to come play basketball with us. I don't know if that's the current system of college basketball, that it will allow a school to have too much talent that plays at one of those lower levels.
You're right. And I guess for me, outside of Gonzaga, who has turned from mid-major into power.
Yeah, no, Gonzaga doesn't count as a mid-major anymore. Yeah.
Usually these Cinderella stories, these mid-majors, have always been one-year moments. Yeah, Steph Curry and Davidson existed, but they had an all-time NBA player on their roster. Usually it's player, Cinderella makes a run, coach leaves. And when coach leaves, it usually falls apart. I mean, VCU was a Final Four team. They beat Kansas with Shaka Smart. You know what they didn't have next year? A Final Four team. Their coach left. So I think it's the same as opposed to, hey, remember that one magic run by, Dusty May and Florida Atlantic? We're not going to say, remember that one magic run by Bennett Sturtz? We're just going to say the player's name as opposed to the coach, but it's more about the 1 year, because we don't remember, they aren't dynasties in the mid-major. We remember them for the singular runs. We don't remember them for, the sustained success. So I think they still exist, but you're right. They are now one team got hot and beat you moments more than they are, they're just more experienced basketball players.
Coming up on the other side, we have one more region to go through. We'll do it next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Guys, it's Cody Tapp, and let's talk about feeling your best. If you don't have that same energy, strength, maybe feeling moody, if you lost that drive with your partner, it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and the true experts you can find at the Low T Center. Getting tested is fast and easy, and we aren't all the same, so don't settle for a standard dosage TRT program. I learned about personalized therapy at the Low T Center and the results you can expect with a customized TRT. So don't put it off. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-1441. That's 800-838-1441. 800-838-1441.
All right, I got an update for you. Remember last week I told you I started Awaken 180 weight loss? Well, in just 2 weeks, I've already lost 12 pounds. Yeah, 12 pounds in 2 weeks. And I know you're like, all right, Cody's been dodging all this stuff. You guys know we went out and did the big listener stuff last week. I'm not skipping dinners. I don't live in a bubble. It's not like that. It's been the opposite. So thanks to Awaken 180, I'm still living my normal life while dropping 12 pounds. Didn't stop me from doing all the normal stuff, just like you. Went to go watch basketball in person last week and everything else, all while losing the weight, and give you the tools you need to do it. Let them help you reach your weight loss goal, just exactly like they're doing for me. I wanted to improve my quality of life, and so can you. Makes me feel better, I feel better, and it's a weekly weight loss without the medications, and you receive free support for life. If you want to learn more, reserve your at-home consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com or give them a call, 844-346-1800.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Fabric Talk. Hello, my love. I am your living room carpet. I see everything. I feel everything. After a while, I smell like everything, including Sir Pickles, who you snuggle with while binging that dating show you can't stop watching. So, how about we freshen things up with Febreze Fabric Spray? Oh, and a big spray for my pals, couch and ottoman. Ah, yes, refreshing. Breathe happy, Febreze. La 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 la.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data, available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line Gold Unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This time is brought to you by Conley Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. Call 913-768-7676 or ConleyPlumbingSolutions.com. Stalled car in downtown Kansas City, blocking the right lane of southbound 35. That's the exit to eastbound 70. And in North Kansas City, debris in the roadway northbound 35, right at Parvin. That's got the right lane closed. And things looking heavy out of the 435 exchange on eastbound 70. Conley Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber, locally owned, family operated from the start in 2012. Call Conley 913-768-7676 or visit ConleyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
CDOT, what was your favorite Cinderella team in the NCAA tournament? Mine was Florida Gulf Coast, a.k.a. Dunk City. I remember there was this small university out of the Midwest, hailing from a small town somewhere in northern Iowa. And they were going up against an absolute juggernaut. You know, they were going up against guys whose names are in the rafters in one of the most iconic basketball gyms in America. No one gave them a chance to win. No one believed in them. But you know what? Through grit, heart, integrity, playing the game the right way, in what was basically a road game, they defied the odds and advanced that day in the NCAA tournament. That's my favorite Cinderella team. Yeah, you might throw out a George Mason that made the Final Four. Remember when they beat that UConn team that had Marcus Williams on their team? That George Mason team was one of the early Cinderellas that made a deep run in this tournament. But I'm always going to hold a very special place in my heart for that school that was located somewhere in northern Iowa that accomplished what no one thought they could accomplish. And they knocked out the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Rob, that's why we watch. That's what makes the tournament so special. That's why they call it madness. It's teams like that school from somewhere in northern Iowa that they could go and knock off a blue blood with a Hall of Fame coach and legendary players nobody believed. That's the true definition of a Cinderella.
Why? Just why? We've had 2 16 seeds win games. We had a 15 seed in the Elite Eight one year. Why?
I thought the question was, what's your favorite? That's my favorite. Why do I can't pick your favorite. I can only pick my own. That's my favorite Cinderella, is that team that I'm talking about. You're allowed to pick your own. Do you have one? Would you like to add to the discussion? Don't try to knock down my pick. We didn't get your pick. Who's your pick?
St. Peter's. St. Peter's was the actual best story.
It's okay.
They beat Kentucky,
I don't remember
who had
that.
the National Player of the Year in Oscar Tshiebwe. There's a throwback name. Their best player was some little white kid with a mustache whose name escapes me, and their coach then got hired to Seton Hall. They were in the Elite Eight, and they played North Carolina, longer than 15 seasons they ever made it. They were the Peacocks. We all had Peacock pride. That gift from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was everywhere on social media when St. Peter's was doing that. It was a magic time. You know what happened that year? It was a 2022 tournament. You know how it finished? I actually like the finish of that Cinderella story the best.
That's actually one of my least favorite finishes to the NCAA tournament. I've actually forgotten how that tournament ended. What happened at the end?
Armando Bacot beat Cinderella, and then he got what was coming 2 games later.
I don't even remember that. That's wild. That's wild. I really forgot that happened. You know, sometimes you just forget that things happen, you know? You just forget. No, that's one that I just forgot.
Do you know what? Well, I'm thinking about another 15 I liked. A couple of years ago, Princeton, they made a really impressive run to the Sweet 16.
Oh, they did. Yeah, no, shout out to them.
They housed some SEC school by like a 50 ball in the second round.
Real student athletes is what they have.
They were definitely playing for the name on the front.
That's what we support. We support real student athletes on this show. That's what.
There was no NIL money going to those Princeton kids. I'll tell you that.
No, they get a different kind of NIL money. They got internships lined up at Google. That's what they got lined up.
They were getting paid the same amount, but it wasn't to hoop. I'll tell you.
Yeah, no, they got.
Bring your TI 84 plus, and they were dominating.
Yeah, they got something completely different going on. All right, we got one more region left. It's actually the West region. Missouri is in it. Kansas is in it. Arkansas is in it. This is a fun local region. Hit it, Rob.
Carrington is the most fascinating region for the local schools. Let's just put Missouri to the side because you're most interested in the Missouri game in the first round.
No, I'm perfectly fine with doing that. The game that I'm most interested in that doesn't include Missouri is Maryland versus Grand Canyon. I think the Tyan Grant Foster kid that went to Slagle, who started his career at KU and then transferred, I think he could single-handedly win Grand Canyon a game in this year's NCAA tournament. This is their 3rd time going it. They won a game last year in the NCAA tournament. They play a very fun up and down style of basketball. Yeah, my favorite game outside of Missouri is Maryland Grand Canyon. And I gave you guys a stat. In 4 of the last 6 NCAA tournaments, a 13 seed has won. The odds suggest that one of these 13 seeds is winning in round 1 of the NCAA tournament.
I'll also stay away from the Mizzou game. We've talked a lot about the Mizzou game, and we'll talk more tomorrow about the Mizzou game because it's one of the local games. That game's just fascinating for pace. I'm really interested in Colorado State Memphis. I don't understand Memphis at all. Why are they a 5 seed? Why are they a 5 seed and why is Gonzaga an 8? It makes no sense to me. What has what has Memphis done this season to earn a 5? They are actually the betting underdog in their game against the 12 seed Colorado State, but I don't know if you've seen how the Mountain West has fared in the big dance recently. It's bad, but that Memphis Colorado State game is fascinating to me. Because I could see a scenario where it's a 12 and a 13 in the second round, or I could see the two powers dominating. Memphis, Colorado State is very interesting to me.
Somebody on the text line asked, is Sister Jean still alive? Yes, Sister Jean is still alive. Listen to this, Rob. How old do you think Sister Jean is?
At least 100. I'm not trying to be mean. I think she's legitimately 100 years old.
Jean Dolores Smith was born August 21st, 1919. This woman is 105 years old. Yes, she is still alive. She was born in San Francisco, California. I've learned so much about her. I'm sitting here, I'm like doing a quick read on her. She considered becoming a nun when she was in 3rd grade. Sister G might have been a tattletale then.
How many 3rd graders? If we went to, what's the closest elementary school?
You might have been a tattletale. If you're telling me in 3rd, 4th grade you knew you wanted to be a nun, hey, you can't sit at our lunch table. You would definitely tell on us.
That's definitely a 1920s life goal. I don't think if we went to the local elementary schools, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up, kids? You might get
the hall monitor is what you want to be.
Astronaut, fireman, police officer. No one's going to be like, none. Sign me up for that. Now, there's anything wrong with that profession, but I don't think 3rd graders are fired up for it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because she was the hall monitor back in the day.
All right, Carrington, back to the NCAA tournament. Let's talk now about who is a sleeper in the West region that could come out and make a run to the Final Four? I'm not looking for you.
Don't ask me that question.
I'm looking for.
Don't ask me that question because you know who I'm going to say.
Path, a team that you don't see coming.
You know who I'm going to say could be the sleeper in this region.
Kansas?
Are there good teams in the NCAA tournament? Is the tournament happening at Allen Fieldhouse? Because if the tournament is moved to Allen Fieldhouse, yes, KU has a chance. They have a chance of going on a little bit of a run. All right, I will remove my bias for this question, and I will say Maryland. Maryland or Memphis, I think, have a chance. There's a chance that we have potentially overvalued Florida, and Florida is the first 1 seed to lose. They lose in the round of Sweet 16. They lose to Memphis or Maryland. So I will say one of those 2 teams is a sleeper. Other than, there is a pathway for Missouri. There is a pathway. They play Drake. They can run Drake. I don't want to say off the floor, but Drake is not able to keep up with the pace. They play Texas Tech. They play one of the more exciting games of the tournament in which Missouri wins like 92-88. Would not be surprised if at any point this season at a neutral site, Missouri beat Texas Tech or vice versa. And then potentially in the round of 16, they could play Kansas, Arkansas, St. John's, or Omaha. They've already beaten one of those. 2 of those teams this year they've already beaten, and St. John's can't score. There is a path for Missouri to make a little bit of a run. Now, knowing that, Missouri can't stop anybody. They can't stop anybody.
I was about to say, that scoring bonanza against Tech, they're giving up more than 89 in that game.
Yeah, that might be a 105-104 barn burner when those 2 teams go up against each other. No, Missouri's probably not going on a run, but the path is certainly there for Missouri or Tech to go on a run.
Let me put on my big J journalism hat here for a minute and not take Kansas, because I can play the same game with Kansas. Hey, they're senior laden. They figure it out. They're healthy. I can play the same game. The answer for a sleeper is Tech.
Hold on. You can't play the same game. Missouri has beat real teams away from home. You guys
Kansas beat Duke and Michigan State away from home.
You guys haven't. In November? We're counting November wins now? It's the middle of March.
It was this college basketball season. Those things occur.
KU's best wins happened before Thanksgiving. Don't talk to me about those wins anymore. Missouri in conference went on the road and beat Florida. Missouri in conference went on the road
Chiefs
and
hadn't
beat
even played the
Mississippi State.
Super Bowl when that game happened. I don't think the Chiefs have played the Texans yet, and you're talking to me about the Florida-Missouri game? It's the same throwback.
Okay, one's from January, one's from one was in conference play. One, Cooper Flagg was playing in his 4th college game.
Yeah, the National Player of the Year without KU's...
Actually, in hindsight, Cooper Flagg, he was 17 when you guys played him.
It's also worth noting that Hunter Dickinson didn't play in that game because he kicked the dude in the face. That's what happened. There's no way to say it differently. He kicked the guy in the face and didn't play. The actual answer for Sleeper is Texas Tech. Scoring the basketball matters in March because the anti-college basketball people are going to, you know how it's going to be on the internet. You know, there's going to be one game where kids are just brick city and the people are going to be like, oh, this is March. It's unwatchable. Texas Tech can score the basketball. And JT Toppin is a matchup nightmare if it's a second-round game with Missouri. And if they get St. John's in Sweet 16, you know what Tech can do? Score. You know what St. John's can't do? Score. I don't know they're a Final Four team, but Texas Tech has all the makings of an actual sleeper.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, Carrington, time for you to answer the big question. Double-digit seed in the West region that could make a run. Now, earlier, if we flash back a week ago, there was big talk about the team that won the Valley. Are you going to stick with that pick as a double-digit seed that could make a run?
No, I'm not. I'm not sticking with that pick. And you know why I'm not sticking with that pick. Yes, if Drake was playing any other 6 seed, I would be picking them to win. I'm not saying that Drake can't win. Drake can absolutely win. But you know why I'm not making them my sleeper. So if I have to pick somebody else, I'll pick Grand Canyon. That'll be my team that I'll pick. I'll pick Grand Canyon.
Love that pick. I'll stick with that idea of having a local kid on my double-digit seed. I'll take Drake. I support local basketball. Liberty's finest. As I've always said, Liberty produces the best basketball players. Bennett Sturt's going to hoop tomorrow.
Here you go.
Cam Manewu, friend of the show. He can come back on whenever.
It's Manyow.
Doesn't matter. He can come on whenever he wants.
Pronounce the young man's name correctly.
Pride of Staley, he will be hooping. Ben McCollum, I don't know if you know this. He coached at Northwest Missouri State before
I didn't know that.
He went to Drake. It's under the radar.
Why
fact.
can't you pick Colorado State? Their point guard's from Kansas City. Their point guard went to Staley. Yeah, why can't you just pick another double-digit seed?
They only have one. I need at least 2 on the roster.
Here you
that's
go.
That's how that's going to work.
I'm not
I need
talking
2
to you
on the
about
roster
anymore.
2 on the roster is the key. I actually think the Drake-Missouri game is the most interesting game in the NCAA tournament because of how slow Drake plays. Like, if you are listening to the show and you've never seen Drake play, do not expect a barn burner. They're going to dribble up, and it's going to be 4 corners basketball, baby. They are slow. All right, Carrington, in the West region, who's your Final Four pick?
Missouri. Let's turn the music down. You thought I was going to pick somebody else? Come on now. That's what you thought I was going to do? You thought I was going to come in here and be like, oh, Maryland. I don't care what I said earlier, that I like Houston and Florida to win the national championship. They're in Missouri's region. I ain't picking them. And Missouri's matched up decent against Florida this year, too. At least acknowledge they matched up decent against Florida. They beat them once, and they were doing okay without Mark Mitchell until the end of the game, and then they weren't doing fine.
I was actually impressed in the SEC tournament that despite no Mark Mitchell, they hung around Florida as long as they did.
Yeah, I think the national championship game is going to be Florida against Auburn. So I'll be serious now. I think that's the national championship. I think those are the 2 best teams in the country. Florida, Houston.
You know what I'm selling stock on? St. John's. I don't get it with St. John's. Rick Pitino is a no name and they're New York's team, but man, the Big East stinks. I mean this seriously. You have talked about how the ACC is down. Look up who's in the Big East. It is a who's who of riff-raff.
See, you call me a hater. You've been looking for reasons to discredit St. John's for 3 weeks. You've been looking on reasons to pick against them.
If we're going to do this, if we're going to talk about St. John's.
And that's fine, but you've been looking for reasons to not pick St. John's.
Let's look at St. John's non-con. It's riddled with losses to Georgia, who's just okay. I'm not impressed that you really gave it to Butler in the Big East tournament. Who cares? The ACC stinks and the Big East stinks. It's not college basketball that me and you grew up with. Those were prominent powers. Now they're just mediocrity. I mean, the next best Big East team in the tournament is who? Creighton as an 8 seed?
Yeah, probably.
UConn as a 9 seed or an 8 seed? That conference stinks. And they don't score, and they don't shoot threes. I'm cool. They beat Marquette.
Rob,
They're
you know what you're
seed.
doing? I know you're not going to acknowledge this.
They'll beat Kansas, but that doesn't mean anything.
I know,
they're
but
good.
you know what you're doing? You're doing the same thing that I'm doing with Missouri. Now, once you see the bracket, you're trying to talk yourself into Kansas figuring it out, even though I've sat here with you every day, and you've told me how you can't wait for this season to end for Kansas. Now that you've seen the bracket, you're starting to dream a little bit. Go ahead and admit it. You're starting to talk yourself into Kansas making a run in the NCAA tournament, even though I know for a fact you have sat in person and saw KU lose at least 4 times this season.
Oh, I've seen them lose a lot.
You've seen them in person. You are now talking yourself into them doing something this March. Just go ahead and come clean with it. I can admit that's what I'm doing with Missouri. I can admit the team that I don't think can guard anybody at this point.
Does having my team make the second weekend count as dreaming a dream? Because, yes, I am doing that then.
Oh, I know you, Rob. If they beat St. John's and they get to the second weekend, you will absolutely – they would then play Texas Tech. A team they've already played twice. Then you would be like, oh, well, you know.
They only played Tech once, and they lost at home.
Oh, yeah, they did lose that. Okay, I thought they played them in the Big 12 tournament.
They didn't play no.
They lost to Arizona, my bad. It's hard to keep up with teams they've lost to. They've lost to so many different teams this season. It's hard to keep it all in line with what teams that have beaten Kansas this year. They've been like an old rug. Everybody's been beating them this year, just taking turns, pounding on this KU team this season. They're embarrassing.
I will say, I am starting to dream a little. Because
I know, I can tell you are.
I just don't think St. John. Everyone's high on St. John. I'm the only person who's down on St. John's because they're just okay. And Rick Pitino's a scumbag.
No, man, that's not
a lot of people are talking about oh, I'm so happy Rick's back in the tournament. Why? He's a scumbag.
Let me ask you a question. This is can we come together for this? How do you think Kansas City is going to play it with Missouri and Kansas both playing in the tournament at the same time tomorrow? Because let's say that someone like you, Rob, you don't want to watch the game at home with just you and your wife. And you're thinking, hey, let's go grab a bite to eat. Let's go grab something to drink. Why don't we go by the other place? Shout out to the other place. 5 great locations around town in Kansas City. Now, I love the other place, and they know that. But if I walk into the other place and the sound's not on for the Missouri game, I'm going to the other place. I'm finding somewhere else. How do you think Kansas City is going to play that tomorrow? Because that's going to be critical. Everybody is not there to watch the exact same game. Some people are there to watch KU. Some people are there to watch Missouri. What is it? Kansas plays at 6:10. Missouri plays at 6:35. So they play at the same time tomorrow. How are bars handling it around the city if you go to Johnny Taverns tomorrow?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think there are certain bars in town where it's a known thing. Like if you're at Johnny's, it's a KU bar. If you're at Harpo's, it's a Mizzou bar.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're at
the other place, that is neutral. The other place is neutral.
Yeah.
The other place is the Iowa bar.
I don't know. I wonder if each bar is going to handle it based on how many people show up. Like if we go, there's 5 locations on the Metro. If we go to the other place in Belton and there's more Mizzou fans, they should have the Mizzou audio on. If we go the one around the corner from the station, it's more KU fans, they'll probably have it more KU audio on. But if you are a bar or restaurant owner, you need to have a plan because you can't have no plan and people like me and you show up and be like, I need audio of this one on, and all of a sudden it becomes pandemonium in these bars.
I'm being serious, and I want you guys to support the other place. Go out there. Great people. They've been great to me. They've been great to the show. I love them. I cannot imagine watching an NCAA tournament game that Missouri is in. I don't even care if the audio is on while Kansas is playing. The worst thing that could happen in that scenario is Kansas win, Missouri loses, and now no, I'm not sitting there for that. If Missouri's going to be eliminated from the NCAA tournament, I'm watching them in the comfort of my own home. I'm going to be disappointed by myself. I'm not going to be out. And now I got to chase down the waitress to get the tab after my team just blew an 8-point second half deficit? Absolutely not. I don't know how you guys do it.
Especially with the timing of the game.
I'm serious. I don't know how you guys go out to places to watch games. You were all hyped for the Super Bowl. You got your seat somewhere. You just got to sit there out in public and watch your team get the beats put on them. Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. It's one thing to watch them lose at home or over a friend's house. In public, no, I can't do it. You'll never catch me out watching a game for a team that I actually care about what happens in it. No. I got to sit there and you come up to me. You got to ask me questions. I don't want to talk to you right now during the game. Please leave me alone. I'm cool to talk to you any other time. I don't want to talk to you right now.
I have no plans of leaving the house tomorrow for the game. If they win, I'll go out Saturday because I don't think they're going to win. Even though St. John stinks, I don't think they're going to win Saturday. So I'll go out. It's a Saturday. Weather's not. I'm not leaving the house for tomorrow's game.
Yeah, someone says paying the tab after an L is so bad. Always takes forever since everyone's rushing to leave. Oh, yeah. When your team's about to lose that last 3 minutes, when you're trying to get Amanda's attention to sign the check, oh, no. Then I got to wait for you to come back, and I'm just sitting there. No, I'm not doing that.
Also, without fail, in this world, it seems like I always get the waitress who's not a sports fan, and she'll be like, I don't know why there's a big rush to leave. Are you not seeing what we're all seeing? Our team's losing. I'm trying to get out of Dodge immediately. 7 tables all tabbed out. Yeah, let's speed it up.
I'm telling you. Someone says state line, Kansas plays Kansas, Missouri plays Missouri. I don't know. Tomorrow, if you go to McFadden's in Power and Light, are we 100% sure they're playing the Missouri game and not the KU
living
game?
room at Power and Light going to play?
That's a great question.
I would never go there to watch a game.
Oh, hell no.
That feels like that's like the worst version of this.
Not this game. I got to go.
Yeah, this is a on the couch game. But if you are running Power and Light, what do you have on the big TV tomorrow?
I don't know. That's a great question. Text line 913-586-7965. Are you giving Missouri the bottom TV and KU's getting the top TV tomorrow?
Missouri is getting the last 20 minutes. I'm not watching a minute of that game until Kansas is over.
I might not even put KU on the TV. They might just get the iPad. I might just set the iPad up. I'm not watching that.
You know what Mizzou's getting? Twitter checks. That's what they're getting tomorrow.
I've seen enough of this season boogie flaying. I've seen enough boogie flaying this season. I got no interest in watching Arkansas play any more basketball games. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from Burger King, Buffalo Wild Wings, KFC, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a burger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Important Social Security news. President Trump's Doge chief, Elon Musk, says Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. And he says there's so much fraud, it's the big one to eliminate. Now, Rob Finnerty is on Newsmax tonight, warning that your Social Security could be in danger. Already, Doge is slashing half the Social Security offices across the nation. Rob Finnerty says that's wrong. Millions will find their benefits denied. You paid into Social Security all your life. Now, Rob Finnerty exposes the lies about Social Security and why it must be protected. Watch Rob's special series on the dangers to Social Security at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app. Millions of Americans are switching to Newsmax because it's news they can trust. It's real news for real people.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Heartland Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Here's a question. Would you take your storm-damaged car to a body shop that only did bumpers? Of course not. So why call just a roofing company after your entire home or business goes through a storm? Get more than a roofer. Get an experienced restoration team. Get PAC Construction Services. We're seasoned construction professionals and, are you ready? Former insurance adjusters. Our 100 years of diverse and specialized experience means faster repairs, fewer hassles, and fewer delays. Our emergency response team is on call 24/7 for storm damage, fire, water, and even mold restoration. Veteran-owned, Kansas City trusted. No one will care more for your home or business inside and out than we will. We're ready when you need us. Visit PacKC.com and schedule a free inspection. With KC's recent storm history, there's a good chance you could already have covered damage. Find out today at PacKC.com. That's PACTKC.com.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof, while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
A stalled car stopping that traffic westbound 70 at the on-ramp from Truman. Another stalled car northbound 35 to West Penway on your way into downtown. Also causing slowdowns as you get past it. And things looking heavy eastbound 70 out of 435. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. I don't know if we give this idea enough, credit, love. I don't know the correct term. But when you think about it, the NCAA tournament is essentially the origin of the Red Zone channel. If you think about the way that we used to watch the tournament, you would get one game. Now, if it was your local team, you had to watch that game from start to finish, unless it was a blowout at the end. But if it was your local market, you were stuck. But if it wasn't, it was essentially Red Zone. It would take you around the country and you'd pop in and you'd pop in here. And then when the game was starting to wrap up, you would go live and everybody was watching it and you would get that level of excitement. It was great. Now, essentially, they have turned the NCAA tournament into Sunday Ticket. You now can watch all of it. You can watch every single dribble of every single game and have everything on a television and a screen at one time. It has really combined two things that people love. It created NFL Red Zone, which is a very exciting way of watching the NFL. It is actually my preferred method of watching the NFL on a Sunday. I love Red Zone. At 12 o'clock at noon, when I see Scott Hansen on my screen, I know I'm about to have a great day. And it also combines Sunday Ticket, where, TBS, TNT, CBS, True TV, I don't know the other channels it comes on, but you can watch every single second of the NCAA tournament. I never thought I would be so wrapped into the ending of a 16 against 16 seed, but the first four, that was one of the best buzzer beaters that we've ever seen. I'm not saying it is one of the most important buzzer beaters. Sure, we've seen last-second shots win the national championship. It wasn't that. But when you just think about the play, a full-court basketball pass that changes hands a couple of times and a guy gets it and hits a layup for his team to advance into the tournament, I mean, you can't really script a much better ending to a basketball game than that one. It was a really exciting. And if that is the tone that the NCAA tournament is going to have this season, sign me up. I think it's going to be a very, very fun tournament. Let's talk about two potential rule changes in the National Football League, and we'll get back to basketball coming up in just a bit. The Green Bay Packers are still trying to get rid of the tush push. Now, I do understand their gripe. I think it comes from sour grapes, but I do understand their gripe. And one of my complaints about the NFL is a majority of the rules are heavily slanted for the offense. This is a rule that allows all the players on the offense to push one player forward for a first down. It doesn't seem like you should be able to do that. That actually seems illegal, but that's neither here nor there. I think what makes these other teams salty is that these other teams have tried. They've tried to do the tush push. They're not that good at it. Maybe it's not random. Maybe it's not a fluke. Maybe there is some skill to it. Maybe there's some skill. I watched the AFC Championship game. Many of you watched it. I saw the ratings. I saw a team try their version of the tush push. It didn't work. If that was Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, then the Chiefs don't even go to the Super Bowl because Buffalo would have been 5 for 5 on those plays. But they're not Philadelphia. They went 2 out of 5 on those plays. They lost. They lost. The issue with the rest of the league seems simple. You're better at this than we are, therefore you shouldn't be able to do it. I don't really have the problem with it from a television standpoint the way that everybody else does. It's a quarterback sneak. Since when were quarterback sneaks cool plays? They happen. We see quarterback sneaks all the time on 4th and short. When were fullback dives exciting plays? It's a short yardage run play. How exciting was that ever supposed to be? So I don't really know if that's a very fair argument and a reason to get rid of the tush push. They're just better at it than you are. And everything goes in a cycle. It's not like the tush push is in our lives for the rest of it. There was a time when the Wildcat seemed unstoppable. Teams don't run the Wildcat as much anymore. Sure, every once in a while, it's a trick play, it's a gadget play. There was a time that a team spent a second-round pick to run this formation. It died. It was over. There was a time where the spread was so new and innovative, no one sees it that way anymore. This thing's relatively new, and they're really good at it. I don't know if you're running that play when Jalen Hurts is in his mid-30s, but they're running it right now. You got to give it to Philadelphia. They have mastered short yardage conversions. The other push right now in the NFL is essentially to get rid of divisions. Now, not in that sense, but they want to have it where, yes, winning your division would guarantee that you would make the postseason, but it doesn't guarantee you seeding. So you could win your division and still be the 7 seed and now go on the road in round 1 of the postseason. I don't like this rule. I would say one of the beautiful things about the NFL is the divisions matter. So it matters when the Chiefs play the Raiders. It matters when the Steelers play the Ravens because you know that it comes with an inherent benefit of guaranteeing that your team gets a home game. So yes, sometimes you will have a flaw in the system where a 12-win team has to go on the road and play an 11-win team. And yes, that might be unfair. They won their division. You didn't. They won your division. Divisions have to matter in the NFL. They have to matter. Yes, winning the AFC West, winning the NFC North, winning the NFC South has to matter. It has to come with giving you something. And they give you a home game for doing it. If you have a problem with it, win your division. Win your division. That's it. So I don't have a problem with either one of these two things. I don't have a problem with the tush push. It's fine. I wouldn't. If I had a vote, I would not vote to outlaw the tush push. I would just vote for you to get better at stopping the tush push. And I also think the NFL should keep the way they are doing the divisions. I think it is the best way of determining, I guess, the regular season. I think it is a reward. I also think it makes the fan interest in those games. I don't think that the NFL should adopt an NBA rule. I think for the most part, adopting NBA rules is not a good idea to do. And I love the NBA, but following what the NBA does with their regular season is not what I would do if I'm the NFL. That's not a business plan that I would follow. They have made divisions not matter. Now, they just play a substantial amount more games than you play, so that also changes things too. But yeah, winning your division has to matter. And the fact that you play these other 6 games in your division, and if you have a really good record, I would keep that rule if I'm the NFL. All right, coming up at the top of the hour, let's get back to talking about basketball. Let's continue to talk about the NCAA tournament. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
A stalled car stopping that traffic westbound 70 at the on-ramp from Truman. Another stalled car northbound 35 to West Penway on your way into downtown. Also causing slowdowns as you get past it. And things looking heavy eastbound 70 out of 435. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from Burger King, Buffalo Wild Wings, KFC, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a burger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Who is the area's only dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment? Metal by the Foot, located in KC and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Sell your car to America's best car buyer. GiveMeTheVin.com, and you may be the one that gets an extra $25,000 in your pocket. We are giving away $25,000 to a random person that sells their car to GiveMeTheVin.com in the month of March. GiveMeTheVin.com, big cash giveaway. You can't afford not to try it.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Spring may not officially be here until March 20th, but at Ryan Lawn & Tree, we've been preparing for spring all winter. This is Larry Ryan. Unlike companies that shut down for the season, our full-time Ryan pros train nonstop, studying the latest science to deliver even better results every year. No one brings more care and expertise to your lawn and landscape than a Ryan Pro in the Clean Red truck. Ryan Pros are full-time employee owners, many with degrees in horticulture and turf management. If you ever have a question or a special need, you never call an 800 number. You call your Ryan Pro's mobile number and talk to an owner. Get your free lawn instant quote online. Just visit ryanlawn.com/spring and get started today. Sign up this month and take 50% off your first lawn application. Our 50% off spring offer is the only one that comes with a Ryan Pro. Visit ryanlawn.com/spring today.
Hey, it's Michael Jenkins with a Sports Betting Minute brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. Time to put some money down on tournament action in Dayton, where Texas and Xavier meet tonight. The boys from Austin have had a disappointing season, but showed some fight in the conference tournament with that win against Texas A&M. And they should have success against a Xavier defense that doesn't play much defense at all, ranking well below the 150s when it comes to limiting 2-point and 3-point shots. Xavier deserves some credit for a late-season winning streak, and they will have plenty of fans in Dayton, but they have racked up only one quad win this season. So we're rolling with the points and the burnt orange. That's it for this Sports Betting Minute brought to you by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app and take your game to the next level with the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
All right, I got an update for you. Remember last week I told you I started Awaken 180 weight loss? Well, in just 2 weeks, I've already lost 12 pounds. Yeah, 12 pounds in 2 weeks. And I know you're like, all right, Cody's been dodging all this stuff. You guys know we went out and did the big listener stuff last week. I'm not skipping dinners. I don't live in a bubble. It's not like that. It's been the opposite. So thanks to Awaken 180, I'm still living my normal life while dropping 12 pounds. Didn't stop me from doing all the normal stuff, just like you. Went to go watch basketball in person last week and everything else, all while losing the weight, and give you the tools you need to do it. Let them help you reach your weight loss goal, just exactly like they're doing for me. I wanted to improve my quality of life, and so can you. Makes me feel better, I feel better, and it's a weekly weight loss without the medications, and you receive free support for life. If you want to learn more, reserve your at-home consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com or give them a call, 844-346-1800.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
Hey, Royals fans, it's Vern. The Hot Stove Show is back every Thursday night at 6 o'clock from spring training all the way up until opening day. This is your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ, FM, and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Rob, I did not plan on starting the 5 o'clock hour this way, and I promise you we will not spend too much time on this. Congratulations on getting through your 9 to 5. Please indulge me for the next 3 minutes, and I promise you we'll get back to sports. Rob, do you know how much money the Girl Scout cookies generate every year? Because I just learned this during the commercial break, and the number absolutely blew my mind. Do you know how much money in revenue that Girl Scout cookies claim that they make selling cookies every single year?
Worldwide? Or I guess nationwide?
I'm not sure. It wasn't specific.
God, the number's going to be big. You're not asking if the number's small. 100 million?
Girls, on their official website, it says that they generate $800 million a year just off selling cookies. This is one of the greatest businesses in the history of the world. Rob, they only sell the cookies from January through April. This is not a year-round business for the Girl Scout cookies. They pop up, they sit outside your local grocery store, you get an email that little Cindy wants you to donate. We all just buy a couple of boxes. You might not even love the cookies, but yeah, sure. I'll buy a little bit, sure. For your little one, I'm happy to help. How many do you need me to get? You need me to get a handful of boxes? Here, I'll give you $30. Rob, the cookies are $6 or $7 a box. Imagine if they tried to hit you for the 10 spot. You're not saying no for the 10 spot. Imagine if they sold these cookies year round. This might be the most profitable business in America. Low overhead. These cookies can't be that much to make.
They don't have employees.
You got kids all around the country and all around the world that will do the heavy lifting work of actually selling it and moving it for you. You don't advertise. It's not like you and I watch television and they got cookies telling you, they got commercials telling you. You don't get Instagram ads. You don't have a marketing budget. This is the greatest business model ever. How do we get in on this?
That's a great question.
Can we buy a bunch of Girl Scout cookies and then
resell them?
And then when like June comes and people got that itch, you haven't had your Thin Mints in a while. It's June. Can we then take all the boxes that we got at $6 and $7 and now we charge them for $9 and $10? Can we get in on some of this profit? $800 million a year. I just looked this up. I was just curious. Wendy's makes like $2.3 billion a year. Girl Scout cookies could be Wendy's if they just sold all year round. They could be Wendy's.
Have you ever inadvertently been part of a turf war at the office with Girl Scout cookies?
No, I haven't.
That's a miserable existence.
I haven't.
That happened to me in my old job. Salesperson X brought their little girl in to sell cookies. I bought cookies.
Now somebody else wants you to get the cookies from them.
Salesperson Y brought their little girl in to sell cookies. I was like, yo, I've already bought cookies. And now it was a problem between me and the two people who worked there. They're like, how did you buy cookies from her when you knew that my daughter was coming? It was a problem.
Do the kids get part of this? I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm serious. Do the kids do they get some of the profit? Like where does the $800 million for the cookies go?
To fund the Girl Scouts. I'm pretty sure it's a nonprofit. They take that money and they're funding their lives.
This don't sound like a nonprofit to me if you run an $800 million business. That very much sounds like a profitable business to me. It can't be that much to make the cookies. You are a for-profit business.
I'm telling you, I think they're the same. Remember the NFL used to be a nonprofit? Same concept.
It's like college football. Yeah. College football is a nonprofit.
That's a great example.
Okay,
if you donate if you donate some money to your local college or Girl Scout troop, they can do something great with it. But that's a donation. You didn't make them any money.
You know what? That's fair. No, that's okay. I got you. Someone said, to be fair, they have a thing going. They're creating value and demand by scarcity. No, that's fair. I just think that, you're usually gonna support your daughter or your niece or your friends. I can't really see you being like, you know what, little girl, hey, I know you asked me in February to buy these cookies. It's now July. Get away from me. I think it's crazy to say for an $800 million business, they're leaving money on the table. They're leaving a significant amount of money on the table here by not selling these cookies. All right, we can get back to basketball. I could not believe this. I'm sitting here. I'm on their website. I'm reading an article on Yahoo Finance. They make $800 million a year selling Girl Scout cookies.
They get $1 currently, apparently, according to the text line.
They get $1 a box.
Each Girl Scout troop gets $1 per box sold. So if your troop sold 100 boxes, you get $100.
My goodness, what a racket. You got your daughter invested in a Ponzi scheme. That's what it sounds like.
She's selling Cutco knives.
Yeah, that's a Ponzi scheme. What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Ooh, the peanut butter patties.
Are they called Samoas?
No,
Whichever one's the coconut that has the hole in the middle.
Do you like coconut? Coconut's trash. Like
the ones I'm talking about?
Yeah,
What's the name of them?
Yes, they're Samoas.
Those are the best ones.
No. Coconut on cookies? What are we doing? No.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
The peanut butter patties is basically just a cookie version of a Reese's peanut butter cup. They saw a great thing, they made it a cookie. Samoa, I don't like coconut. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. Whichever one has the hole in the middle.
Are you a frozen Thin Mint person?
I don't like mint flavor. So
really?
No, I'm not really a Thin Mint individual. I'm not a Thin Mint. I learned a lot about Girl Scout cookies in the last 7 minutes or so. Hopefully you guys learned as much as I did. All right, Rob, let's get to very serious basketball things. The NCAA tournament is, you know what? I am suspecting that, I don't know, maybe 27 hours from now is going to be the end of Kansas's basketball season. We don't have that much time left to be able to talk about Kansas basketball. We really don't. All right, can we at least come together for this? And I will not make another crack at KU for the rest of the day. You have my word. Girl Scouts honor is what I'll put it on.
All right. Ponzi scheme honor.
I looked this up. So, out of the last 23 years, there have been 100% of teams that have fit a specific criteria to win the national championship. They have to be rated top 20 on defense on KenPom. They have to be rated top 40 on offense on KenPom. So, yes, you can make the Final Four and not be on this list. You could potentially make a deep run and not be on this list. In the last 23 years, you have not won the NCAA championship if you have not been ranked top 20 on defense and top 40 on offense. These are the teams: Duke, Florida, Houston, Auburn, Tennessee, Michigan State, Maryland, UCLA, Michigan, Clemson, Louisville, Iowa State. Now, there's a handful of these teams we don't need to spend that much time talking about. I don't think that Maryland can win this thing. UCLA is not winning the national championship. Michigan, Clemson, Louisville, Iowa State. Those teams could win a game or two. I'm not talking about those teams and their ability to cut down the net. That leaves us with 6. I think the favorite in this tournament is Florida. I think Florida has the perfect balance of what you need to be able to win this thing. They have one of the 5 best players in Clayton Jr. at guard. They've got size. They've got depth. They're tournament and battle tested. They've got a very good coach. Florida is a national championship contending team that is playing their best basketball at the right time. That matters to me in this conversation. Florida playing their best basketball now when it counts is exactly what I want to see. Since March has started, these are Florida's wins: Texas A&M, Alabama twice, Ole Miss, Missouri, and Tennessee. That is a team that is ready for the NCAA tournament. I also really like Houston. I like Houston's toughness. I like that they have a team that has gone through this tournament a couple of times. I like LJ Cryer and his experience in the backcourt. Kelvin Sampson is a coach that's taken a team to a Final Four. You know what it takes to navigate this NCAA tournament. My national champion on my bracket is Florida and Houston. I think those are the 2 best teams in the country. This is what scares me about Duke. And I think Duke is obviously a good team. They have the best player in college basketball, the future number 1 overall pick. They are a very good team. These 2 things scare me about Duke. Number 1, their best player is a freshman. If we look at the last 25, 30 years, however far you want to go back, there aren't a lot of teams that win the national championship when their best player is 18 years old. It's really, really difficult to do. Now, it's happened before. Carmelo took his team to a championship. Anthony Davis took his team to a championship. It has happened before. It's really, really difficult to navigate this tournament as an 18-year-old when everybody else is 20, 21, 22, when they win this, especially now in a sport that is more older, a sport that players are sticking around and playing 3, 4, 5 years of college basketball. Their best player and their second best players are freshmen. That bothers me about Duke. What also bothers me about Duke is the conference that they were in. This is not the old ACC. This is a different ACC. This is an ACC in which North Carolina finished 5th in the ACC and was an 11 seed. It's the worst seed that North Carolina has ever had entering the NCAA tournament. It's not that I don't think that Duke is good. Duke hasn't been in a fight. To give you guys an understanding, Duke played Louisville, who is ranked. Louisville was ranked 13th. Louisville got an 8 seed, even though they were ranked 13th in the country. They got an 8 seed. Do you want to know the last time before the championship game in the ACC that Duke played a team that was ranked? You want to know when that was, Rob?
Ooh. Was it Kansas?
It was Auburn on the 4th of December. You haven't been playing the same level of competition that Houston has been playing. You haven't been playing the same level of competition that a Florida, an Alabama, a Tennessee has played. What does that look like in a single elimination tournament with freshmen? That scares me about Duke. It really does. They've been good. They have one loss since the turn of the year. They lost early in the season. They lost to Kentucky in their third game. They lost to Kansas in their sixth game. Since then, the only team to beat them was on the road against Clemson. But then when you look at the teams that they've beaten, North Carolina twice, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, Florida State, Miami. What? You haven't been playing big dogs. You haven't been playing elite teams. I'm personally staying away from Duke for that reason. I know that some of you are picking Duke to win the national championship, and they very well might win the national championship. I'm not playing a team that ain't tournament tested, that ain't battle tested. I'm not playing it. Cooper Flagg hasn't played against many future pros at this point in his college basketball career. He's about to. And that personally that scares me off of them where I am not buying it. So I like Florida and Houston. I am taking Houston to win the national championship. You asked me earlier about Auburn and what kind of scares me about them. This is what scares me about Auburn. Auburn is obviously very good. Coming into March, I think Auburn was the best team in college basketball. Since March 1st, they are 2-3. And they have played tournament teams during that stretch. Now, they have played a pretty difficult schedule. Since the turn of the month, they beat Kentucky 94-78. Since then, they have lost 3 of 4. They lost on the road to A&M. They lost to Alabama at home in overtime. They beat Ole Miss, and then they lost to Tennessee a couple of nights ago. They are not playing their best basketball. In fact, they are playing their worst basketball. I think it's really hard to go from playing your worst basketball of the season to now playing your best again and now being a team that cuts down the nets. So I still like Auburn. This is a team that is pretty veteran-led. This is the team that has the second best player in college basketball. A good coach has taken them to the Final Four. I think it's hard to turn the light switch back on, especially when it's been off for these last couple of weeks, the way that it's been for Auburn. So I'm personally staying away from them. I don't love Tennessee. I like Tennessee. Michigan State, to me, seems like a team that kind of benefited from a little bit down Big Ten, and I question how much they can score in their ability to win this tournament. So that's where I am. I like Houston to win it, and I think they're playing Florida in the national championship.
The way you feel about Florida is how I feel about Auburn. I think they have an incredible player, they have an incredible coach, and I think their bracket is going to shake out in their favor, which is always, you can never predict these things. We do bracket pools, we all try to predict it, but you can never predict someone's going to get a little bit of a softer run. I'll use 2022 Kansas as an example. Kansas played a 10 seed in the Elite Eight in 2022 when they went to the Final Four. Like, that kind of thing happens in this tournament all the time. I think Auburn is going to get that, benefactor because their bracket lends itself to chaos. And they have Johnny Brome, they've been battle tested, and they have Bruce Pearl. And I know they've limped down the stretch, but before that Kentucky game, which was 2 weeks ago now, where they throttled Kentucky at Rupp,
they did smoke them.
It looked like no one was in their hemisphere as far as quality. Now, they had a couple injuries. Johnny Brome battled something down the stretch. I think the way you talk about Florida is how Auburn is going to play in this NCAA tournament.
Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, the ACC is better than they get credit for. They played a good non-conference schedule to better prepare them for the NCAA tournament. They played the SEC earlier this year in the SEC-ACC Challenge. They lost 14-2. They lost 14-2. They got smoked by the SEC. Now, that was in early December, and obviously these two teams are different. That conference showed me it is not close between them and the best. And that is who Duke has been playing primarily for the last 90 days of college basketball. I'm not sure if that prepared you for what you're about to see in this NCAA tournament. The degree of difficulty is going to heat up in a way that it simply hasn't heated up for you in quite some time. You know what, Rob? Let's actually talk a little bit of football here in this 5 o'clock hour. Do the read for Baker University. Shout out to them. And I'll handle hit number 1.
Your workday is over. Oh, yeah. You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number 1.
Carrington, as always, hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu.
All right, I want to play something that Matt Verderame said on our show earlier today. We were talking about the Chiefs' decision at left tackle, and if you missed it, Cam Robinson has signed a contract. So, as a little bit of musical chairs, Houston had Laramie Tunsil as their left tackle. They traded Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders. They obviously now need a left tackle. They have signed Cam Robinson. Cam Robinson was a player that we talked about this offseason. He has signed a 1-year, $12 million deal that could be paid up to $14.5 million. We don't got to get too deep into the finances of it, but I asked Matt Verderame, would you rather have Jalen Moore's contract or Cam Robinson's deal? Here's what Matt Verderame said.
Jalen Moore, look, you talk to people, around that signing, and there's a sense of, listen, there is the unknown. There's no arguing that. He said 12 career starts. But they like the way he was playing in pass pro in San Francisco. They like his ability to anchor. There's a thought that, look, you get him in there, coach him up, get some more experience, then he can go out and be good. And I think if you're the Chiefs, 2 for 30, you're not paying him to beat Trent Williams. You're paying him to not be a road cone. You're paying him to go in there and just be good. And if he's not good, they'll cut him after a year. If he's good, they'll keep him. If he's great, they'll extend him. But I think I'd rather have him and his potential upside than Cam Robinson for 1 year. I know, look, there's no upside. He is what he is.
I've told you guys in the past that I think you have to view left tackle very similar to quarterback, at least how you acquire the position. Really good left tackles in the National Football League, they don't just hit free agency. That's not how that position works. And if you feel like you got a really good left tackle, you do everything in your power to keep them because they're really hard to get, kind of like how quarterback is. I think the Chiefs were faced with a couple of different options. They could have overpaid for an okay player. I think that Dan Moore is fine. I don't think that Dan Moore is one of the better left tackles in the National Football League. I don't care what his contract says. I think he's fine. But because the Steelers let him hit free agency, someone was going to overpay. And I feel even better about that opinion when I saw the team that overpaid. It was Tennessee. That's not a good organization. I don't ever want the Chiefs to do anything that the Tennessee Titans do. They're not good at this thing. That's why they have the number 1 overall pick in this year's NFL draft. So the fact that Dan Moore went there, all right, cool, let's put that away. I don't think the Chiefs were ever going to get Ronnie Stanley. I also don't think they were going to get Laramie Tunsil. Maybe it's not because Houston wouldn't trade with them, but because I don't think the Chiefs were willing to spend what it would have taken to go acquire Laramie Tunsil. I don't think the Chiefs had a whole lot of great options at the position. They had a choice. They could have got Cam Robinson, who in this analogy is like Tyrod Taylor. He's fine. You're not making the playoffs if you sign Tyrod Taylor. You're probably not having the number 1 overall pick. He's going to play just well enough. He's Justin Fields. He's going to play just well enough that you think there's a little bit more, but there's not. I think that's what Cam Robinson is. He's fine. There's not an incredibly high ceiling, and there's a relatively decent floor, but that's not a guy that you are considering a potential franchise left tackle. You want to know how I know? He's played for 3 teams in the last 12 months. If he was a franchise left tackle, we wouldn't be having this conversation about him being available past the wave of free agency and him signing a 1-year deal. Now, I think the Jalen Moore thing is interesting. I think he's the quarterback that played well in a handful of starts and now has an opportunity to be a starter. Now, I don't know what that means. Maybe he's Brock Osweiler, who is in this exact same situation. Maybe he's Matt Flynn that's in this situation. Maybe he's Rich Gannon. Maybe he's a guy who maybe he's Kirk Cousins. Remember Kirk Cousins was drafted behind RG3. He finally got his opportunity. He made the most of his opportunity. Hey, you got something there. I applaud what the Chiefs did. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if anybody can tell you it's going to work. We haven't had enough of a sample size of Jalen Moore to tell you whether it is or is not going to work. But what I do know is the Chiefs took a chance at being solid at the position. They took a chance at being solid at the position for multiple years. If you got Cam Robinson, you know what it is. Cam Robinson is the definition of a bridge left tackle. He is 30 years old. Again, this is his 3rd team in a year. He is the definition of a bridge left tackle. there is a chance you have something with Jalen Moore. There is a chance that he can develop and grow into a solid left tackle and one of the better left tackles in the National Football League. And I think the Chiefs took that chance. So we will obviously track and see if it'll work. We'll see if the Chiefs are right at this. If they're right, it solves a lot of problems for them moving forward, because they could be in a position where they're going to have to get a new right tackle next year because Jawan Taylor will not be on the team at that contract. I think he is getting cut at the end of the season. And I don't think you want to be in a situation where in one off season you were trying to find your left and right tackle. I don't think you want to be in that situation if you're the Chiefs or any team in the National Football League. So if you missed any of Matt Verderam, go check the podcast page out there. He said certainly a lot more than that, but I wanted to play that for you when it comes to left tackle. I think the Chiefs made the right decision. I think you rather have Jalen Moore than have Cam Robinson at both of their contracts. I think you rather have the club control for year 2. And even though he doesn't have the on-the-field experience, I think you rather have the younger, more athletic player that has a certainly higher upside than what Cam Robinson is.
I love your quarterback analogy. Let me ask you a question. So Matt Flynn signed with the Seahawks. That same draft, the Seahawks with Pete Carroll went out and drafted Russell Wilson. 3rd-round pick. Matt Flynn never got the job. We know the story. Would you like to see the Chiefs draft a tackle still in the upcoming draft? I know we got a month and a half before draft talk really revs up, but Bink's coming up in half an hour, so maybe it's going to rev up in half an hour. Do you think the Chiefs should still buy an insurance policy in the draft, like a better term?
Yes.
Because there's a scenario where that Matt Flynn player is Matt Flynn. There's a scenario where Jalen Moore is Kirk Cousins. But if he's Matt Flynn, I think you have to have a real option, like Kelvin, something behind him more than just Rutrow and Suamataia/Wanye.
The Chiefs are going to be in the tackle business at the end of the season, regardless of anything that happens. Jawan Taylor will not be on the team next year. Like, you and I both look at contracts. There's no scenario in which Jawan Taylor is on the team next year. They have to cut him at the end of the season. If you look at Jawan Taylor's cap hit next season is $27.3 million, and they saved $20 million by getting Jawan Taylor off the team. And just based on how he's played so far, are you interested in extending Jawan Taylor? I'm not. Especially when I assume, like most people, Jawan Taylor is going to want to raise from what he's been making. Not many people extend their current contract with their job and not want more money from it. They gave him 4 years, $80 million. They gave Jawan Taylor $60 million guaranteed. 60. That's 2 Nick Boltons they gave him guaranteed money. He still got more money coming to him. No, thank you. Jawan Taylor is off the team. So if you're telling me they draft a left tackle now, and the plan is he's a swing tackle for this upcoming year, and then we'll see. He either is going to start at left tackle for you in 2026 or start at right tackle for you, and we'll figure it out. Yes, drafting a tackle is not off the board to me because you went and signed Jalen Moore, not when you can see that there is going to be an opening on the offensive line coming up in a year from now. Let's get back to basketball. We are, less than 24 hours away from round 1 of the NCAA tournament. Let's talk about what happened last night with North Carolina. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
From Kansas City to the capital city, Washburn University will surprise you. A tight-knit college in a city of opportunity, Washburn offers the best of both worlds. Close, but not too close. Small classes and big experiences. Public, prestigious, and affordable. Above all, Washburn delivers a personalized education you won't find at larger schools. See how Washburn is just right at washburn.edu/KC.
The trip of the summer is coming. Live. Collective Soul. Summer Unity Tour 2025. Starlight Theater, July 16th.
with Our Lady Peace. Special guest, Graylin James Rue. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at kcstarlight.com. Live, Collective Soul, Our Lady Peace. Part of the Capitol Federal Concert Series.
Incubus, live. Nice to know you. Performing the album Morning View in its entirety, plus the hits. July 8th, Starlight Theater. With special guest, Manchester Orchestra. On sale now at kcstarlight.com. Don't miss Incubus performing Morning View in its entirety, plus the hits. Part of the Capitol Federal Concert Series.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business?
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to shoot your shot? Log into BetMGM and make your picks in our March Matchups $250K Pick'em for your chance to win a share of bonus bets. It's free to play and easy to get started. Just log into your BetMGM account and predict what will happen at different points throughout the college basketball tournament. You'll earn points with every correct answer, which gives you a shot to win a share of bonus bets. Just pick what will happen throughout March Matchups, and if you make enough correct picks, you'll win a share of bonus bets. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards or non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Stalled car southbound 435 just past 70. Also looking at some slowdowns in general, eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange. So that whole area is just seeing a lot of brake lights. Also another two-car crash northbound 435, the exit to 210 highway. Heavy 71 southbound starting at MLK through East Gregory. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Sometimes doing this job, I get distracted. But I always hope that my distractions are a positive thing. I'd rather talk about this than talk about North Carolina, if I'm being completely honest with you. They won. We'll talk about them another time. Rob, during the commercial break, now I will admit, I have allowed myself to, I have advanced Missouri in my mind, and I am planning to go to Wichita on Saturday. Now, I know they could lose to Drake. I respect Drake. I think they are a very good team. I have just prepared my mind and body that they are going to win and that I will be getting in my car and driving to Wichita to watch them play in the round of 32. So during the commercial break, I just Googled things to do in Wichita. I don't know what time they'll play. Maybe Missouri plays at 4 on Saturday. Maybe they play at 6. I'm not leaving at 2. I'm going to leave early in the day, and I'm going to spend the day in Wichita, Kansas. In fact, I have never spent the day in Wichita, Kansas. I don't know what's there. I Googled it. I don't know if I'm going to Wichita anymore. Let me tell you what, this is on tripadvisor.com. This is a nationally known website. This is what they have as the top attractions in Wichita. The Keeper of the Plains, the Sedgwick County Zoo, Botanica, the Wichita Gardens, Old Cowtown Museum, the Museum of World Treasures, Frank Lloyd Wright Allen's house, the Kansas Aviation Museum, the Wichita Art Museum, the Great Plains Nature Center, and the Exploration Place. I'm not going to this place. I'm not going to Wichita, Kansas. Rob, what is there to do in Wichita? Have you been there before? Do you know what there is to do?
I've never been there.
Because I could keep going to more. None of these things sound like I should get in my car with the intention of spending a prolonged, so I can go to the Pizza Hut Museum. That's why I'm going to Wichita, to go to the Wichita Toy Train Museum.
So here's the thing. Twofold. One, I think TripAdvisor is a terrible way to do this. If you were to TripAdvisor Kansas City, you would think our town sucks. TripAdvisor is going to always show you museums and boring stuff. Do it right now. TripAdvisor Kansas City.
Okay, but hold on,
It'll tell you some lame stuff.
This is what's different. You never had to go. You know what Kansas City's known for, though. TripAdvisor might not tell you that. TripAdvisor is not going to tell you, hey, go here. If there is one thing that I think the rest of the country knows that we do, it's beer and barbecue. That's what they know. So maybe you're coming to Kansas City and you don't know anything about it. Hey, I would just go in there and find top barbecue places. And trust me, any one of the options that you choose is an amazing one. What am I going to Wichita for? What do they do there? What are they known for? I don't know. This isn't my neck of the woods. I honestly cannot remember a time that I've been to Wichita, Kansas. But I'm telling you that going on TripAdvisor don't sound very fun.
Here's what I would do. There's a place in Wichita called Old Town. And there's like shops, bars, restaurants. There's one of the museums in there. It's a little area you can hang out, eat, drink, kind of meander around. And then, you know what? There's a Chicken and Pickle in Wichita. I know that for a fact.
Shout out to them.
There's also a wave of breweries that I'm sure people enjoy in Wichita.
Okay.
I just think TripAdvisor is a bad barometer. TripAdvisor is the most fun town in the world. Whatever you think that is. If you're like, you know what? Nothing's better than Chicago. It won't tell you about the bean. It'll tell you about nonsense. TripAdvisor is a bad metric.
Okay, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it. And I'm on here for Saturday. What could I potentially do? I'm on oldtownwichita.com. They have the Desperate Housewives of Sedgwick County play if I want to go see that.
They have restaurants and stuff in that area too?
Well, I assume they eat there.
Wait, like local delicacy, not like you're going to Chili's.
That was when I looked at top restaurant, that was number 11. I just want to point out that was number 11. I can go see some girl, what is this? Stephanie Moore. Michaela Brownlee. I can go see her perform. She's at Brickyard. I don't know, man. This doesn't sound.
Google what Wichita State.
This doesn't sound exciting to me, man. I'm serious. This doesn't sound fun to me.
What do Wichita State students do? They gotta do something, right?
Transfer to Kansas is what they do. They go there for a semester. What do you think it says on Lawrence TripAdvisor? Like if I go right now to Lawrence, Kansas,
Lawrence is gonna be fascinating.
Okay, let's look to see what it is.
There's the museum on campus.
All right, here we go. This is what it says. This is the 15 best things to do in Lawrence. All right, let's look it up. Let's let it load a little bit here, and we'll take a trip to Lawrence, Kansas. Because in Lawrence, it's fun. Lawrence is very fun.
A lot of stuff to do.
Do you think that Wichita is more fun than Lawrence?
No.
Do you think Wichita is more fun than Manhattan?
No. I think Wichita every day has a celebration that Topeka's in town, so they're not the worst city in the state.
Well, that doesn't sound like a very fun place to be.
Yeah, but
if you're telling me it's not Lawrence, it's not Manhattan, what is it, Topeka?
No, it's better than Topeka.
Are you sure?
Because
it doesn't sound better than Topeka to me.
If Missouri was playing in Topeka, I would be begging you, do not leave to go to watch Missouri.
If they was playing in Topeka, I'd be at the game tomorrow. Is what I would be. Hey, Rob. Hey, at 4:30, I got to get out of here, man. I got somewhere I got to be. All right, things to do. All right, hold on. I'm pulling it up. It wasn't loading right the first time. Things to do in Lawrence. All right, here we go. Oh, they have tours. You can take a tour. All right, top attractions in Lawrence. Number 1, Mass Street. Great. That wasn't the number one thing to do in Wichita, Kansas, was not Mass Street. That doesn't tell you specifically, but Mass Street, just go there and walk around. You will find something you're into.
I mean, that's to say it's way worse, but Old Town is something to do and walk around.
You know what Old Town sounds like to me? It sounds like Metro North Mall is what you described to me. It sounds like it used to be popping in 01, but you want me to go there now. Hey, go to Blue Ridge Mall. What? No. Your selling point was it had bars and restaurants. Everywhere has that.
Yeah.
So it's like Zona Rosa? You want me to drive to Wichita to go to Zona Rosa?
Yeah,
that's their claim to fame?
Go to Wichita, Zona Rosa, go to the game. Wichita is not like, it's not exactly a vacation destination.
No, I can tell. It's not any of those things. Shout out to Wichita. Somebody said, CDOT, do you use TripAdvisor when you go to Vegas? You don't have to use when you go to Vegas. You just go outside and the fun is all around you in Vegas. When you go to Wichita, I'm assuming you got to look for the fun. You don't really got to look for the fun in Vegas.
You're the same person who went to, what's that town you and Bink rave about?
Wamego.
You guys went to Amigo and just waxed poetically for 6 months, but now you're talking down Wichita?
They got wineries in Wichita?
They got a ton of breweries.
No, they got a winery there. Let's look it up.
Probably. I know they have like 5 breweries.
Okay, let's look it up. Let's see if there's a Wichita winery. Okay, all right. They might have something. Simply Sangria. They might have something there.
There you go.
All right, they might have something. Oh, this one's it's 15 miles away. I'm not going to that. I just wanted to know what was on there. Somebody said Wichita is exciting in all the wrong ways. No, it sounds like it. You know what, though? This is the thing I've noticed. It's very different. This is very different about Missouri and Kansas people. I wouldn't let you talk bad about a city in Missouri the way that you guys talk bad about the other cities in Kansas. The people like Rob that live in Kansas only like 2 cities in Kansas. They're like Overland Park and Lawrence. They're like any other place in Kansas. Hey, how about Wyandotte County? No, don't go there. How about Topeka? No, don't go there. Wichita? Oh, absolutely not. Where else in Kansas do you like? Do you like any other place in Kansas? I'm telling you, the people that grew up on this side of Kansas, on this state line, they treat the rest of Kansas like Pride Rock. That's how they treat it. You go to 135th and Metcalf, you drive to Lawrence to go to the game, you drive back home, you don't know anywhere else in Kansas. You don't need to go nowhere else in Kansas. You guys don't sing its praises. We in Missouri, we love Missouri. Yeah, go down to the Ozarks. Great. It's a great time. That's not how you guys talk. I don't know if you guys really love Kansas. Somebody said Wichita is a huge bowling town. All right, you know what? I'm watching this game at home on CBS. That's what I made my decision. I'm staying at home. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
FanDuel is turning the excitement up even higher for college basketball this March. Through the first 2 rounds of the tournament, bet on the lowest winning seed of the day, and you'll win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. Now, that's an upset you will not be upset about. FanDuel is the best place to bet on the tournament. You can bet on everything from point spreads, money lines, and team totals, and so much more. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download America's #1 sportsbook app today and back your dog of the day, because in March, anything can happen. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live money line wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split evenly among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are nominal draw. Will expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get help as your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
From Kansas City to the capital city, Washburn University will surprise you. A tight-knit college in a city of opportunity. Washburn offers the best of both worlds. Close, but not too close. Small classes and big experiences. Public, prestigious, and affordable. Above all, Washburn delivers a personalized education you won't find at larger schools. See how Washburn is just right at washburn.edu/KC.
Here's a question. Would you take your storm-damaged car to a body shop that only did bumpers? Of course not. So why call just a roofing company after your entire home or business goes through a storm? Get more than a roofer. Get an experienced restoration team. Get PAC Construction Services. We're seasoned construction professionals and, are you ready? Former insurance adjusters. Our 100 years of diverse and specialized experience means faster repairs, fewer hassles, and fewer delays. Our emergency response team is on call 24/7 for storm damage, fire, water, and even mold restoration. Veteran-owned, Kansas City trusted. No one will care more for your home or business inside and out than we will. We're ready when you need us. Visit PacKC.com and schedule a free inspection. With KC's recent storm history, there's a good chance you could already have covered damage. Find out today at PacKC.com. That's PACTKC.com.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on two wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
Ready to shoot your shot? Log into BetMGM and make your picks in our March Matchups 250K Pick'em for your chance to win a share of bonus bets. It's free to play and easy to get started. Just log into your BetMGM account and predict what will happen at different points throughout the college basketball tournament. You'll earn points with every correct answer, which gives you a shot to win a share of bonus bets. Just pick what will happen throughout March Matchups, and if you make enough correct picks, you'll win a share of bonus bets. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards or non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Royals coverage sponsored by Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer and Jersey Mike's Month of Giving.
Join us in supporting Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer and Jersey Mike's Month of Giving. Visit any Casey, Topeka, or Lawrence Jersey Mike's and donate. You can also donate through the Jersey Mike's app. Help the fight against childhood cancer with Braden's Hope and Jersey Mike's.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Multi-car crash stopping that traffic and very heavy behind it. Northbound 470. The collision is just past Struthers Road But the traffic is heavy back to 50 Highway. Also seeing a stalled car stopping traffic westbound 470 to Blue Ridge Boulevard. And a crash on the right shoulder of the downtown loop westbound 70 right at Main Street. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Make sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. We're having a little fun talking about road trips to Wichita, the tournament, all kind of things. I was pointing out to Rob that people that live in Kansas, they don't really like Kansas. They like Overland Park and Lawrence, and they're kind of cool on everything else. And that's not really how we Missourians act. Someone on the text line says, I don't know, C-Dot. Warrensburg, Sedalia, Clinton, Windsor, Warsaw, they all suck. Nobody is ever telling you to go to Windsor, Missouri. I don't even know where Windsor, Missouri is. I only have been to Clinton, Missouri because you have to drive through Clinton to get to Springfield. I've never stopped in Clinton, Missouri. Maybe to use the bathroom or something. I've never stopped. For those of you that maybe you got a little one that goes to Mo State, or you grew up in Springfield, you know the drive I'm talking about. There ain't no reason to stop in Clinton, Missouri. I don't know where Warsaw is either. I don't know where that is. I would love to go to Wichita and learn more about Rob State. But Rob didn't do a good job in selling me on it.
Aren't those all like towns on the way to the lake? Like Sedalia? Those are all like, hey.
Sedalia's like in the middle. Yeah, Sedalia's like you would drive through Sedalia if you're going to Columbia.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's the one where the state fair is in? That's over
That's in Sedalia.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's in Sedalia. Yeah. I mean, I'm not telling you Sedalia is an exciting place. It certainly is not an exciting place. But also, that you're going there for an intended purpose. You're not going to Sedalia to hang out. That's not really the day trip move, you know? You're not like, oh, hey, let's hang out there. And like, no. I'm not advising you to go do that.
I would say Wichita and Springfield are probably similar. I think Springfield's probably more fun, but
Springfield's great. I love Springfield.
It's probably similar size college town vibe.
Springfield was great. That's when I was in college in Joplin. We would always take the drive over there. It's 45 minutes away. You could have a fun time in Springfield and then drive home. It was always great. I love Springfield. Do you plan on watching the first four tonight? I know that last night North Carolina played. I started watching North Carolina, and then they started smoking San Diego State, and I started watching television. I was like, I'm not watching any more of this. I think I know who is advancing in the NCAA tournament. Are you planning on watching tonight with Texas and Xavier?
I'll be honest with you. Texas and Xavier does not move me the same way Carolina and San Diego State did. Carolina was interesting because of the storylines, but man, it feels like Texas and Xavier is just two teams about to become chum for Illinois. Like that, it doesn't feel like anything can come of this game. Carolina, for as annoying as they are making the tournament, could feasibly make a run now. These two teams are like cannon fodder for the round of 64.
Yeah, I would treat this Texas Xavier game. It's like an early season bowl game. You're watching it, but you're not watching it.
I'm gonna be sad when basketball's gone, so I'll watch, but I'm not like, oh man, Texas Xavier.
Yeah, you got it on in the background, but you're definitely like talking to your wife. You're doing other stuff. Yeah, and then you just got Texas Xavier on in the background. I actually think Xavier is going to win today. I would probably pick them. I don't plan on putting anything on it. I'm just gonna have it on the television. I don't plan on doing anything until tomorrow, but yeah, I think Xavier is probably going to win today in the first four.
Rodney Terry saved his job by making this game for Texas.
If your job is saved by you making the first four,
I'm just telling you what the reporting was. I'm not saying that's a win for Texas.
I'm just telling you, because you're not even in the tournament yet. You can't even count that till you win today. You gotta you can say that if you're St. Francis or Alabama State, you're in the tournament. Sure, you're a 16 seed, you won your league, you made the tournament. In my mind, you can't be North Carolina telling people you made the tournament if you lost in the first round of the playing game. That's not how this works. All right, before we sign off, I want to play one final thing for you guys. Nick Wright was on Colin Cowherd's show, and listen to the conversation they were having.
Really worry about Kansas City. Joe Thuney is one of the more valuable offensive linemen in the league. Left, and they didn't want him to leave. They couldn't afford him. They don't have a left tackle. They paid a lot for Jalen Moore, who's never been a starter. By the way, they're not going to go 11-0 in one-score games. Raiders are better. Broncos will be better. The Chargers will be better. It never lasts forever.
This is an annual tradition where you pick a new team to win the AFC West, and then midway through the year, you're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. Also, you said the Chiefs didn't want to lose Joe Thuney. What, was there a gun to Brett Veach's head when he called the Bears and traded him? They didn't lose Joe Thuney. They traded Joe Thuney. So I just got to say, the rest of your bracket feels a lot like we are respecting the teams that were really good last year, except for, of course, the Chiefs.
I don't understand how you can pick another team at this point in the AFC West. I know you guys call me Chargers Dot, and I got to wear that, but you're picking the Have the Chargers made a move that I've missed? Who have the Chargers added where you think that they've closed the gap between them and Kansas City? Najee Harris? That's the move? They still don't have another wide receiver. Their defense is still suspect. What? You like the Najee Harris move puts them over the top? I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying it. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's show. Tomorrow's show is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to have basketball wall to wall. Take care of yourself. Fill out your bracket. Make sure you get it in before the window closes. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourself. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.